Waiting for Austin Organovsky.
So I should be live. Hello, everybody. I hope the audio levels are okay. Ethan is here with me tonight. Ted might join us in a bit.
Why? Oh, Ted.
Yeah,
I haven't. Have we ever been on Discord with Ted
I
together?
don't think so.
Oh,
But anyway, I figured I did this race the other night. This is a funny story. I was really fucking high because things have been looking up in my personal life. So I went and bought some very nasty marijuana cigarettes, and I'm like, I'm gonna do an AMS2 race because I'm in a good mood for the first time in like a year.
way too
And
dank.
so I set up this like 50 lap Salvador street circuit race in the kart cars, and it was awesome. I didn't realize in the options menu that, and this is really funny, I didn't realize there's an option when setting up a race that, what's the word I'm looking for? There's an option to determine whether in-race refueling is allowed or not. So I guess it by default set to off, which means I couldn't fill up my car on a pit stop. So like, I go and run the race, and I'm like, why the fuck can I not set like fuel as my pit strategy? And I'm like, is this some sort of bug? So I'm like, I'm just gonna run the race anyway. And I get to like lap 40, which is like, I'd started with a full tank, and I'm just like, I'm gonna see what happens. So I ran the car out of gas and had to retire. And then the AI all ran out of gas and had to retire.
Uh-oh.
So nobody won the race. And I was like
Keg.
freaking out, and I'm like, what kind of insane bug did I find? Because I didn't know that that was like a thing in the options menu. Because like, what game realistically lets you pick whether you can refuel or not? Like, it's one of those things where I've complained about in racing sims where they just give you too many options that like something's going to get overlooked because it's like overwhelming. You open like the realism setting menu, and it's just like this massive bombardment of a list, and I just didn't notice that this option wasn't ticked. So I ran the whole race. Everyone runs out of fuel, and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, it was literally the rapture. Like all 16 cars that started the race just disappeared from the track, and then
Rapture.
with all of them DNF'd, it like got to the post race screen prematurely, and it said like people finished on laps that they didn't finish on. It said, like for time deltas, it was like if you go a lap down, it says you're -1 lap back. It said both plus and -1 lap.
Uh-oh.
It said like a car that completed 40 laps was ahead of a car that did 42 laps, which that's not how math works. Yeah, in AMS2 makes sense since you can simulate modern F1 where refueling isn't allowed. Yeah, so like I didn't know that, and I didn't notice it was off by default, so I ran the race and just like all hell broke loose. And I'm like, I was really high, so I'm like, oh my god, this is the funniest glitch I've ever run into. So I made this amazing photo of like the kart cars at Salvador, but like overlaid with like a rapture artwork I found from some crazy Christian site of like bodies like rising into the sky, and it was just like this excellent like schizo wallpaper and like thumbnail I was gonna use for it, and I'm like, hey, something had to be really fucked up here. Like, it's just this cannot have happened. So I finally went back into the game. I'm like, I'm not gonna do a video if it's like some stupid option, and it was. It was just in race refueling disallowed, and that fixed it. But it was a really funny night. So I'm gonna run that race again now that I know how to turn that option on because it was really fun. This is
Nice.
a great combo. So
Delinquent Trail, I think ACC might give you that option because I'm not sure, but in the Porsche Cup, Porsche Super Cup, or the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, is there refueling in those races? Because that might be just a quick checkbox they did for anyone running like a single series thing. Because since in the first Blancpain season, there was some wacky outlier team running a Porsche Super Cup car and another wacky outlier team running a Super Trofeo car. They decided, oh fuck it, we'll give the ability to race these as their like respective single series. I don't know.
So what's the topic of today before we get started? And we're pretty much going to recover territory we just tread over. But you were triggered today on Facebook, similar to ways I get triggered when I talk about this stuff.
I
Uh,
wasn't I wasn't triggered on Facebook, so I was triggered on Twitter,
oh,
which is where everyone gets
give me a quick
twiggered.
rundown. Give me a quick rundown.
Twiggered. I just coined that. Um, So basically, today it was announced that Cem Bolakbasi, might have butchered that pronunciation, but he apparently made it from F1 esports into F2. Now, I'll preface this by saying I'm so happy for the guy because that's huge. But yeah, him making it from F1 esports into a real seat isn't what it appears to be on the surface. There's more underneath. Because if you go on his Instagram, you will see pictures from 2015 of him testing lower level formula, and he also, he was in karts at 6 years old, that kind of thing, and he ran a fair few karting championships. But this seems to be completely omitted. It seems like nobody wants to talk about this because, you know, the social media accounts, F2 and so on, they're saying like, oh, he made it from F1 esports into F2, just glossing over the fact that this dude already had a racing career and esports might have revived it, and he himself said that he got opportunities from it. However, it's not the full story. His
Yeah,
dad's
like
fucking loaded,
it's getting
and
weird where
that
a
goes
lot
a long
of
way.
a lot of devs and like social media accounts and like sponsors are trying to push this narrative that like people are getting recruited into real life rides through esports or like getting discovered through esports, and like it's not true at all. It's like they're just like aggressively pushing this because they're desperate to make sim racing seem bigger than it is. Now I've always considered sim racing to be just kind of like the virtual equivalent to like RC cars. And like RC cars are cool as fuck, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
like there's this push to somehow make it more legit. It's like little man syndrome. Like you know how NASCAR and a lot of auto racing series in America these last 20 years have like tried to jerk themselves off and try and say that auto racers are athletes, and then, you know, they'll go into like, look at this guy's heart rate during this race. He's an athlete. And it's like, shut the fuck up. He's a fat dude driving a race car. Like, sim racing is now struggling with little man syndrome, similar to what real racing is, where they're trying to legitimize themselves. They really don't know how. So now they're just making up like blatantly weird falsehoods, similar to again what real racing did with, oh my god, our drivers are athletes. Look at his heart rate. Look how many calories he burned. Look how much
They
weight
are
he lost.
athletes.
Right? No, but you know what
They
I
are
mean, right? It's
athletes.
like that. They're very insecure about
Just
who
because
they
you
are.
can't, just because you can't race for 4 hours in the blazing hot sunshine in a 100-degree cockpit without fucking passing out, you fatty.
Yeah, I can't race for 20 minutes without needing a shit. But that's really beyond the
I
point. It's
I
this.
remember you. I remember you texting me when you got home after a race in your sportsman late model. There, my leg's so sore.
It's weird, man. Like, it gets fucking hot in there, but, like, I don't sit there and try and, like, I don't feel so insecure that I need to compare myself to athletes to make myself feel better. Like, it's aggressive to drive, like, a high horsepower car. It really is.
Yeah,
But,
I'm just ragging on you.
yeah, but it's just like, man, like, I don't feel insecure enough where I need to start being like, well, I'm technically on the same level as a basketball player. And sim racing is starting to do that with, hey, this guy got recruited from sim racing into real racing. Because that F2 guy, this isn't the first time it's happened. It's happened with Jan Mardenborough, where he had like a karting career. And
Hmm.
I think he was in Formula Ford or like something to that equivalent. Maybe it was just karts, but he had a really good karting career before he won GT Academy and became a Nissan factory driver. And just nobody talked about that. It was just, oh my god, we
Exactly.
found this random kid living in a London flat who's amazing at Gran Turismo, and now he races for Nissan. And it's like, that is not what happened at all.
And
Uh,
like, I would like to also say that I am no doubt that sim racers, if given the chance, would have the talent. I'm not saying that sim racers don't deserve chances, and I'm not saying that they're not good enough or anything like that.
yeah.
I'm taking issue with the reality of getting that chance because Chem didn't. Well, obviously he did work his way through esports, and he said he's got opportunities through esports. I'm not denying that, but you're gonna have little Timmy looking at that tweet, thinking, "I'm gonna drop out of school to, jump on the F1 game, pour my life into my sim rig because I'll get a real seat at the end of it." And to be fair, you do have Brendan Lee, who got a Formula 4 drive or a few tests or a couple of races or something. And he worked as a kitchen porter. No real racing experience. That's a genuine one, Brendan Lee.
Yeah. But
Um,
it's so rare. Like, the
yeah,
stories we hear recently of, and there's three NASCAR drivers that always get mentioned in this discussion. Ty Majeski, a lot of people don't realize he was a karting phenom in Wisconsin, like a few years before iRacing was ever released. So, like, if
yeah,
iRacing came out in '08 or '09, by '06 he was like the Wisconsin state champion. So like he
Yeah.
was going to make it into NASCAR regardless. The sim racing meant nothing. There's
Yeah.
another one, Josh Berry. Everyone thinks, oh, Josh Berry made friends with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and now drives his Xfinity car. Well, that's really not true. He was just a personal friend that Jr. had met in North Carolina or through NRO3 and basically just moved over there to become a shop hand. And over a
Exactly.
period of 12 to 14 years, saved up enough money and worked his way up through the company to be like, hey, like, you can start driving my late model, you can start running cars to her, that sort of thing. So it was basically like a natural friendship. And Dale was just like, hey, you've paid your dues at the company, you can go race, but, no one really talks about that. It's all just, oh, Josh Berry was this amazing sim driver, and he made it into the real life Cup and Xfinity series. Another one, too, is William Byron. Which really rubs me the wrong way, almost as much as this whole F2 thing has got you a bit booty blasted on Twitter. They did the same thing with William Byron. A lot of people don't realize, like especially the TV hosts that cover it, they say like, oh, he was discovered on a computer. William Byron was never an esports competitor. He was a random dude playing these games the same way like 100,000 other iRacers are just playing the games recreationally. He was never in like the Coke series. He was never running like big name invitational events. He was just a dude, and he happened to live in the same gated community as Jimmy Johnson because his
Hmm.
dad is a high up at what's called Liberty University, which is like a private Christian university, and he's in charge of like some sort of financial thing. Like his dad is connected to some people just within the NASCAR circle naturally, because he does like car financing or something like that. So it was basically like William Byron, turned 16 or 17, and was like, "Hey, Dad, like I kind of want like a big boy hobby. I want to go racing. I'm pretty good at this racing game on the computer. Like I haven't won any esports competitions or anything, but like this is what I'm interested in." And the dad's like, "Okay." And they proceeded to buy a Legends car and run 50 races a year. So does that mean he was discovered through sim racing? No, he's a Legends driver. It was
No.
just, it would be like saying, well, if you played Madden when you were 12 years old and eventually went on to have a football career, does that mean you got your start or were discovered playing Madden? No. But that seems to be because of sim racers' insecurities and this need to be like, we're more than just people playing a video game. There has to be some ulterior motive. We got to make ourselves feel good about this. We have to try and portray it as something it's not and try and drum up stories that really aren't there. We have to try and mislead people. And like we talked about before we went on stream, it's kind of dangerous because like there's a lot of like younger kids in this stuff because like racing sims are fucking cool, and that's around the age we got into it. And
Oh yeah.
like you and I basically first met when we were like 16, 17, 18, just like fucking around on Riggs or Odds monster trucks.
Hell yeah.
And like there's kids like that getting into it every year. And
Yep.
like that's really cool, but back in the day, like we just played it because it was fun. And
Yeah.
we're both monster truck autists, and it's like, oh man, you watched Speed Channel Monster Jam growing up, like that's sick, I did too, and you know all the drivers, like that's sick, I did too. That's really what it was. But
Hmm.
now it's like we have this narrative that like, hey, if you go like turbo autism on it and put a bunch of time into it, it's gonna result in these like massive opportunities, and you're gonna be an esports superstar, and you're gonna get a real life ride, and like kids aren't smart enough to kind of process that information and be like, this is a load of bullshit, and even the stories we just mentioned are bullshit. So like I really don't want it to result in, kids like neglecting like fun shit in high school, like getting laid or like not playing on a sports team, or like, missing out on things with friends, or like not getting just some shitty part-time job when they're 18 because the fucking social media feed told them that like, hey, you're going to get discovered through sim racing.
Yeah. And I worry that, because this is coming out of F1 now.
Yeah.
This is the biggest motorsport in the world right now because of, Netflix and all that sort of thing. It's rapidly growing. And, think of how many sim racers there are in the world. It's got to be millions, hundreds of millions, maybe. Wait, is that how numbers work? Math is hard. You know what I mean.
It's pretty
There are
close.
loads
Like
of,
when you
yeah,
factor in GT and Forza's audience with iRacing and like AMS2 and,
yes.
and the little niche sims that like guys like us play, there's a lot of people playing it.
So F1 are making it viral to these bajillion sim racers that one guy came up through F1 esports to become one of what, 20 F2 drivers on the grid. Like there's going to be some heartbreaks out there because some dude's going to throw it, just shut himself in his room and grind, and then he could well compete in F1 esports. Yeah, he could well win. He could be a 3-time F1 Esports World Champion. Jarno Otmir is a 2-time F1 Esports World Champion, and he hasn't gotten. And I'm good friends with Jarno. I would know the second he got an opportunity, but he hasn't been rung up or anything. And I just some kid's gonna make it, to esports, be a 3-time world champion, and be like, okay, I wait and buy the phone. Where's my call? And then maybe he does get an opportunity, but it's like, so I run a McLaren 570 GT4. And,
Hold on, I'm gonna get Ted in here because I think Ted's ready.
Okay.
There we go.
But you're gonna have some team owner be like, yeah, I have a McLaren GT4. I'd love to have you in the seat. Okay, hell yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, it'll only be 100K for the season. And that reality is going to hit them like a brick. And
well, that's basically what happened to our buddy Sev. Like, one of the guys that I ran PRC with back in the day that I still talk to, once a week or so, ended up beating like a BMW factory driver in the rain at the Nürburgring in like some open test session. And I think a few years later he went to like an Audi driver development weekend with like 20 people, and he got to run like a front-wheel drive Audi TT Cup. It's the same car that's in AC as like one of the DLC cars. And he's like straight up, he's like he either won or he came second out of like 20 or 25 people. And they're like, okay, so you won, but like pay up X amount of money to run the season.
Check now, please. Yeah. Check in hand. Thank you. Yeah, people don't understand this, and people talk shit constantly. And I've gotten people will leave nasty comments about how Austin's a failure, or about how a guy like me is a failure, or whatever, because they got to pro level racing and now they don't race professionally anymore. And the hard truth of it is your parents pay for it up until they run out of money or you run out of connection with them as you get older, and then everybody has to take 5 to 10 gap years to go to college, get a decent job, build up their wealth again, to then spend money on racing later if they want to do it at kind of like the semi-pro level in the US, with the lack of a talent pool especially. If you don't live in Europe where there's racing constantly and come from a family that's connected to racing, nepotism is extremely prevalent in racing, and people don't realize that, but it really is. Or know somebody who owns a multi-million-dollar business, and then also have the talent, and then also use the sim racing as a training tool on top of being a rapidly fast real-world driver, you're not going to be a pro. None of these guys that come from these sim racing championships aren't also really fast drivers in real life, right? Like Gigi Alessandrini, a national autocross championship, I think was the guy who won the Spec MX-5 NASA Invitational on iRacing a couple of years ago, and that guy's like an amazing driver in real life. The sim racing is being used to augment training for modern people that if they were going to go pro, they would be a driver anyway. But you can win that competition, and then at the end of it, the racing team that they get you in contact with is still going to tell you to write a 6-figures check for a season at minimum, and still have liability for if you crash the car on top of it.
Well, and that's kind of what Race Room, I think, is running into right now, because they're holding some competitions like that where it's like, hey, win a seat in this F4 car if you win like the leaderboard challenge. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, how are the logistics of this working out?
Yeah.
And then you think of world's fastest gamer as well, James Baldwin, hugely impressive debut performance in British GT, and it was looking set to continue, but then I guess world fastest gamer pulled the plug, because
that's just how it is. Right? Like,
yeah, it's like these companies like World's Fastest Gamer, they do like, yeah, we're gonna get sim racers into a real seat, and it's gonna be sick, and it's gonna be fucking dope and wicked. And then James does one season, blows the doors off of everyone, and like despite that performance, they're like, that was kind of expensive. Sorry, gotta go.
It's all about money. People don't realize it, but it's all about money. And then for anybody listening to the stream who's curious, if you want racing that does not rely so much on the talent pool being flush with cash and or full of sim racers who aren't actually really primarily sim racers, watch bike racing.
Yep. Because the cost of entry is so low. Like, it's a bike at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a bike. There's only so expensive you can make a bike, and Moto America Stock 1000 exists. You have to run a bike you just went and bought off the showroom floor. Everything's like a 2 or 3 year old used Suzuki GSXR or whatever that costs like 12 grand. You know.
The other option with racing is if you want to make any sort of money, exhibition cars, jet cars, and monster
Yeah.
trucks.
Yeah, run a jet. You run a jet dragster or a monster truck car. It'll be really expensive to build, but then you can charge local ovals to do a stunt show as their like halftime entertainment or whatever.
Or
and
just
you'll
run like a
actually-
regional monster truck tour, because they're at the point where they all kind of have their own sanctioning bodies at this point. Or like a promoter does like a tour, right?
Yeah.
Jet cars you can run anywhere every weekend for 52 weeks. Tracks pretty much always want an exhibition car. And with jet fuel being like a third of the cost of passenger car fuel, like, or at least it was
Wait,
for a point in
seriously?
time. It's something crazy.
Jet A is pretty cheap.
Holy shit. And can I put that in my 1.2 Corsa twin port?
Probably, but it fires under compression instead of combustion like diesel, so you'll probably blow it up.
Fuck yeah! Sounds sick to me. And before MotoGP starts to do esports and tries to get a dude on a real bike, that wouldn't really work because bike games are like pad based.
Yeah.
And sim racing I kind of understand because you have the wheel pedals and shit. But yeah, bikes, I don't.
There's no peripherals for doing a bike simulator. Actually, bike simulators aren't really a thing from what I understand.
I saw one dude on YouTube. He had like a set of handlebars fabricated, and he just put it on like a CSL Elite wheelbase that he like turned backwards, and it sort of worked. But the thing with bikes is you're part of the bike. You know, you're part of the machine. It's half and half. In a car, it's just you're just the fleshy pink bit that pushes the buttons. But on a bike, you know, you're part of it. There's no way to simulate that. Some, you know, MX simulator and GP bikes.
MX bikes, yeah.
Well, MX bikes as well, but there's a track one.
Yeah, GP bikes.
Those, you know, get as close as you can, but it's still nowhere near the sort of realism level you can get out of sim racing a car.
Yeah, I don't know. Racing's in a weird place right now.
Yeah.
We don't know. Professional series are going more and more towards homologation. And for those of you who don't know, series that have homologated cars versus series that have constructed cars, homologated cars basically have to be approved and pre-produced by a manufacturer, such as GT3 cars, TCR cars. People don't understand this, but that actually increases the price of fielding a car in most racing series in exchange for you get better parts support. The factories get involved, and it, air quotes, adds legitimacy to a series. But if you have to buy the car from the manufacturer instead of building it yourself as a small race shop, it's always going to be more expensive. Just as a necessitation of being pre-constructed by a manufacturer, they're going to want to make a profit margin on those race car. You know, there's a reason why buying a factory GT3 car from Audi is, you know, $1 million or whatever, and then it's $500,000 for the Evo upgrade kit they release for the car every couple of years, right? It adds a revolving door of costs because, sure, you have the, air quotes, support from the factory, but they're going to want to make a profit on that, off of the racing teams, who are already trying to make a profit off of the drivers because the prize money isn't there and the sponsorship isn't there, you know, and especially in the US, you're just blatantly not going to be able to be a pro because just motorsports doesn't have the popularity here. At most, you're going to be a semi-pro who, if you have a popular enough Twitter or YouTube channel or Instagram, really, most likely it's going to be an Instagram, you might get enough sponsorships to offset enough of the costs that you can race, but you're not going to be an actual pro for the most part. There aren't really factory teams that are paying drivers here that are doing development on cars. Notable exception being maybe like Patrick Long in the Porsche program.
I'm an idiot and forgot to actually turn on allow refueling.
Ah.
You fool, you complete and utter buffoon.
Hoist by your own petard.
Have we ever been in a voice chat together, Teddy?
I don't think so.
Excellent.
I didn't realize you sounded like Wensleydale tastes.
It's That's my favorite thing I've
Well,
ever
you
heard.
see, owning a cheese shop is as easy as handling money.
Now, well, you see, my career in the lower formerly was funded by my father's Wensleydale shop. And it
You
wasn't
see,
just
we're based in
Wensleydale.
Leamington Spa, and my father
Yes.
only owns 5 properties.
Yes, Leamington Spa. My father owned a Wensleydale shop and a cheddar shop. It was splendid. It funded my Caterham suit.
And I got to talk to this broad, and she had a smashing set of maps, let me tell you.
Oh, yes, and a good bit of crumpet, yes. Yeah, she showed me her ankles once, now it's hard for days.
Rankles.
Fucking, you sound like Wensleydale Tastes.
You like
Oh
that
my
one?
That's good. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah.
Let's actually read chat. Battlefield 1 spend whole life prepping for video gaming, then getting blasted by some dude who runs a funny setup in a pub race.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously. That's another
Funny
thing. It's like if you don't have the time to learn the metagame tricks to make the sim fast and inherently make it not correlate with real life, you're just not going to make it in sim competitions anyway. So it's like,
Nope.
I mean, but when I got invited to the NASA Spec MX5 challenge in like 2019, dude, all the real life drivers and pros they invited were getting fucking smashed by the sim racing tryhards. I'm not even kidding. Like I was
Yeah.
running around in like 15 to 30 cars.
Big.
Supercross needs a better game. That, Outdoor Nationals, Flat Track, GNCC all-in-one games. Yeah, Flat Track bikes are actually really cheap and really fun too. There's been some local racers who heard rumor that Ted might be switching to bikes soon, and they have basically offered to let me come out to their farms and run around on a flat track bike. Which does seem kind of fun. That's kind of an interesting world. You dream about, Delinquent Trail says he dreams about games revolving around semi-pro racing series with quasi-sim physics all the time. That's why I enjoy Monster Games' output so much. Yeah, it'd be nice to have like Sim-Cady, Gran Turismo kind of sort of physics level games, but about small series. Like
Basically
there
what
hasn't been
SRX is.
Yeah, the SRX game. It'd be nice to have something in that flavor for Trans Am or Continental Tire Sports Car or Moto America or like BTCC, right? Having a good BTCC game or British Superbikes game would be awesome. I miss Suzuki TT Superbikes for the PS2, which was all the English public road racing circuit. Yeah, that was good.
That's that's one of the things I think iRacing does best. You know, it's that because whenever I see, you know, like the Mercedes W12 at Spa, it doesn't feel like F1, and NASCAR feels like NASCAR, I guess, just because it's like the whole licensing thing. But whenever I'm in iRacing, it's at its best when I'm in a Mazda MX-5 or an SECA Spec Racer Ford at Lime Rock Park. I feel like I'm actually like a Weekend
Doing a
Warrior
club
club
race.
racer.
Yeah. And I
Love
have
it.
we were literally whinging about that on our DLC podcast.
That's right, yeah.
Why hasn't iRacing gotten me club level racing yet? Like they need to go on a binge and go get like an SCCA Spec Miata. They need to go get like a Super Touring light car. They need to go get like an American sedan or NASA American Iron like V8 4-speed gearbox, mostly stock class muscle car, club racing car, right? And just go get all the club tracks. Go get like Blackhawk Farms and Nelson Ledges and Brainerd and Motorsport Park Crescent and Motorsport Ranch Houston, and like go on a binge, get all the club tracks and the club cars, because a lot of the people I know using iRacing are like, yeah, I really like I'm a club racer. I really they use iRacing because they buy the hype that it's the most realistic and they have the money. Let's be real, if they're a club racer, but they're like, it doesn't have my car and track on it, and I would really like that, you know.
You know what it
Some
needs? I
British-
think it needs more fictional super speedways.
I'm gonna cut you. We don't do fantasy tracks or tracks that don't exist anymore. Oh yeah, here's an 87.
North of Wilkesboro.
Yeah, here's 87 North Wilkesboro and a car to go with it. Ah, so you just straight up lied when you said you couldn't give me your GPL tracks when you released the Lotus 49.
Here's
Fuck
a
you.
here's a fictional open wheel car that nobody asked for.
Feel like feel like pure shit. I just want my laser scan Taylor Swift Superdome.
Oh yeah, Ted doesn't know about that.
You don't know about Taylor Swift Superdome? Oh, my man.
Do I want to know what Taylor Swift Superdome is?
Someone
Sounds
made
cancer.
like a NASCAR 03 fantasy track that's called the Taylor Swift Superdome, and it's really well made and high detailed, but it's just like Taylor Swift. It's like a shrine to Taylor Swift.
And it's fucking great. I shall get a
I
picture.
I hate pop stars in general. But I don't think I would be super into that.
Yeah, but wait till you see this banger of a track. Copy image. Paste.
I really didn't like when I ran out of fuel. It had like a weird physics hiccup there. Okay. Return to pit box.
Look at that. Isn't that glorious?
Oh man, it's like oh man, sure is a lot of pink in it. It's like it's like a horrible Bristol clone. It's like flat straightaways, super bank corners. Yeah.
No, you know what it's like? It's like the track from the first scene in the first Cars movie, where it's like that kind of big Bristol.
Yeah.
But it's not quite
very much
Dover.
what it looks like.
Good movie. Good fucking movie.
I like the original Cars. I don't like the later Cars movies. I don't think that
You go. Sorry.
they're not like Shrek where they got better when they did a second one. I really don't think.
I thought Cars 3 was fantastic. Cars 2, no, fuck it, chuck it in the bin. I thought Cars 3 was fantastic because that like completed the circle. I liked it. Joker 3 is still at the top of my list because it fits the quasi-sim niche. Correct. That was a good game. I mainly played Joker 2.
I can't wait for 2000 spec kart cars to come. The 1000 HP monsters to AMS2. People need to get over horsepower. It's not what makes a good race car.
Exactly. Some of the best racing I've ever seen IRL and some of the best sim racing I've done myself has been in Mazda MX-5s.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, or even go watch Moto 3 or the twin class on the World Superbike Tour, or Twins Cup Moto America, or Junior Cup 400cc Moto America, or Global MX5 Cup. Oh my god, I want these legendary cars with 1,000 horsepower. Yeah, that you can't drive, and nobody can race close to
exactly.
you. That's what you're saying you want.
Yeah, nobody
What?
can drive is an important one.
Yeah, it's that's not an insult, by the way. It's just a fact.
It is. It's
I hate to Ben Shapiro people, but it's just a fact. You can't drive that car. It's, the fact that car is too powerful for you doesn't care about your feelings.
I mean, like the day these came out on AMS2, which was a couple months back, it was before Christmas. I was like, I'm gonna play it all night because I know this game's kind of dead. And it was like of the 3 or 4 races I did, there were maybe 2 people who could drive it like moderately quick, and the rest was people just wrecking. Like we did a race at Long Beach because like everyone jacks themselves off about gonna have kart cars on the Long Beach circuit, and it was like there were 3 cars running at
And
finish.
it's hilarious because they use the modern Long Beach, which is the wrong layout.
Well, what
Wrong beach.
what they did is they just used P-Cars 2 assets.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't mean that the map itself was created incorrectly. I just mean like literally, it's the wrong layout of Long Beach. The best
Yeah.
one was the late '70s F1 one that was like twice the length as it is now. It went up and down the raised roads on the promenade.
Can we talk about this girl's outfit? Like,
uh-oh.
what the fuck is this? Like, imagine... Like, it's to the left of the leaderboard, right? You can probably see my mouse on the stream.
Oh, okay.
But, like, it's like this blue
Uba.
vest, but, like, with brown tit marks. Like,
And like the deepest V-neck zipper I have ever seen. The zipper terminates at like her navel.
like,
Weird.
Uber.
who would buy this as a Christmas gift? Like, hey, honey, I got you this new vest from Walmart. It's got giant brown circles where the tits are. Will you wear it to me to the Salvador street circuit? Like, okay. You can find some really funny Easter eggs in the fans of a lot of games. That's all I'm gonna say.
I still have a crush on the fit girl from Bathurst and ACC. You know the one. That's my You know, regular people, regular internet nerds, they get off to like anime 2D girls. Nah, not us.
I am apathetic to women.
That's a fair point.
I value women for their mental fortitude, their intelligence, their strengths, and their contributions to society. And I disavow the bigotry of Austin Ogonoski and Ethan.
Okay.
Okay,
I guess we
Tell me how
qualified
good
on
of a
goal.
person I am.
I do have to pee real quick.
Oh no.
I mean, it's expected. It'll be, I don't know how long this race will be, about an hour. One pit stop.
Nice breast circle, ma'am.
Nice breast circle, ma'am, said somebody. Ma'am, I must say you have a smashing circle upon your breast.
Splendid Nork markers.
Yes, you can't drive the 1,000 horsepower cart properly, but you don't care because for me they are fun to drive. I mean, yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, if it's fucking fun, just do it.
Yeah,
But
if it's fun and you like driving it, then please do everybody a favor and drive it alone and not in leagues or on public online lobbies. Good for you.
Vouch.
You think they're
Yeah.
fun.
yeah,
But if you're see, because my thing is, if I'm driving a car and I'm crashing it constantly and I can hardly drive it, that's not fun to me. It's just like I would rather in my perfect world, a race car should have a 4 to 6 speed manual gearbox, weigh about 2,000 to 3,500 pounds, and have somewhere between 25, like 250 and like 450 horsepower. And at maximum, about 200 to 500 pounds of downforce. What I'm basically describing is a GT3 car with a bit less power and no driving aids and no downforce. It's kind of like, for me, that's like, yes, race car, right?
sounds like a good time to me.
Race
Yeah,
car time.
something like a Group A touring car, but with a less shit torque curve, and like a 5-liter V8 instead, or like a Trans Am TA2 car, right?
Racing sims need accurate grid girls. There are no more grid girls.
Yeah, they don't
because,
have grid girls anymore.
It's a weird way to
But, you
ask
know-
for grid boys.
Like,
Yeah.
no,
Whoa.
women decided in the name of feminism that other women who aren't them should be out of a job because it's
Because they're not
It's-
ugly or they're too pretty or something.
Again, I
probably.
disavow.
no, you don't.
What happened on the start there? I'm confused.
I don't.
We took the green and I got like shunted hard.
Yeah, he just came to sniff up your booty.
And like I didn't get the worst start. He just fucking sent it.
What a twat.
What a bitch. He's been.
Oh, we got shoved from behind. Okay. Yeah, there was like multiple
the
cars.
Stream view is a bit behind it for me. You're reacting to stuff I haven't
yeah.
seen yet. I apologize.
Fucking
That's fine.
spoiler alert. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you bitch. Come on.
I still haven't forgiven
Oh,
that
they
one.
wrecked. They wrecked hard in the first chicane.
Oh,
Is this
shit.
going to be the AMS2 ass pack?
This
Oh,
is the
yep.
true BR experience.
The AMS
AMS2
ass pack.
pack.
I still don't regret getting a refund for this sim, even though it's, you know, I
It's
got
improved a lot. It's great to drive. And I tell you what, they do a great job at niche content. They've got all the Brazilian club tracks and a bunch of weird cars and a ton of vintage 70s F1 stuff that no other sim has like an actual good version of it that isn't just an R-Factor mod rip. But it does have issues. It still has issues.
Yeah, it's nah.
People keep going to my should you buy AMS2 video and going, it got updated right after you made this review. You need to upgrade it and update it. And I'm giving them the chat. No, I still wouldn't buy it unless it's on sale.
Yep. Laser Scan Monaco as well, they have, I think, which is a plus, but it's still
Wow.
not enough. Yeah.
Laser scan Monaco so that I can enjoy my processional non-competitive races.
No, what you
in
do is you do
extra
rental carts
fidelity.
around Monaco.
Yes.
Ah,
See,
the
Austin
rental
has a
carts
right
around
idea.
Monaco would actually be unironically good. That'd be pretty good.
We
Or like
did
that-
it. We did it in P-Cars too, didn't we?
Yep. Or like that shifter cart we did the other night that you got sick in because the track was too tight, which I don't really blame you for.
Yeah.
That was intense. Even I felt weird after that race.
It made me feel so shit. That's genuinely the first time I've gotten motion sick in VR since learning how to do the flight sim with JG1 in VR. because racing sims never made me sick. Flight sims did because of the illusion of the plane moving, but me not being able to feel it really bad. And then that karting thing at the indoor kart center and the 390 racing kart, that shit made me feel violently sick.
I haven't gotten sick in VR yet. My friend Ash got like super motion sick and had to like really work at getting over it. But I, meanwhile, I just strapped on the headset. This is fucking awesome. I took the F2004 straight to Suzuka. It was fucking, oh, this is brilliant!
I'm happy for you, man. Knowing that you got to have fun is almost as good as having fun myself, let me tell you.
Thanks, Teddy.
You're welcome. Why are you calling me Teddy?
Don't, because you look like a big old teddy bear.
No, everybody always says that. I've heard that so many times.
Stays.
I don't know why I say that way. Sorry, I feel like I've got brain worms. I'm browsing for I'm browsing for apartments and flats in the background while we're streaming, so I'm not.
Well, that's a kind of dissociation that's actually useful. It's not my kind of dissociation where I can be pedaling my bike, just getting out, trying to burn off some of this fucking flab, and I'm
queers, bro.
And I'm just like lost in this daydream about some random shit that happened 5 years ago, and then I wake up, I look up, and there's a tractor in my face about to flatten me.
Classic.
So, yeah, that's not a very good
cycling gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we should get into like a Tour de France sim hardcore.
Oh. One of those like Peloton things where we actually have to pedal.
No, not
you know,
that.
I've actually been thinking of doing that because, man, I just find cycling on my fluid trainer so fucking boring.
Yeah.
That like getting an actual trainer that adds like a video game aspect to it, I know it would get me to do it more. I know it would.
True. I have just something that.
And then you find out like this whole circle of other esports autists. He didn't start his career on Peloton. He had a real cycling career.
Yeah.
He used to race BMX. I saw Instagram pictures.
Fucking Lance Armstrong starts a Twitch career smurfing in Peloton open lobbies.
That is unironically not the worst idea. That would be disgusting.
I fucking hate that sentence because it was so believable.
It's kind of like those like skits for like Nike where they dress like a pro basketball player up as an old dude and he just dunks on people at Rucker Park.
You're right. You're so fucking right. I hate it.
Hey, it's Grandpa Drew. All you young whippersnappers never played real ball. Takes off from the three-point line.
So much.
Jesus.
This is so believable. I just hate it. I hate it.
See, sim racing, you can't do that. Anytime like real drivers try and come smurf in sim racing, they get shit on by kids with bullshit
Cars
setups.
jacked up like Monster Jam trucks.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, man, if I had enough money to race more often, I would not be using the simulator. And I am so butt mad that I might have to take another gap year next year after finally getting like a truck and a trailer and everything sorted and doing like one race. Like, I'm actually gonna fucking Kurt Cobain myself one of these days. Just so stupid. I really need to make the switch to bikes. I'm doing the math, and they're just so much cheaper, and I can race them so much more. Or I need to get back into dirt ovals. Bikes are dirt ovals instead of road racing. I really need to do.
Austin sounds like he's having fun with the whole dirt oval thing. That doesn't sound like a bad thing.
It's really good. It's
It's something to do, and you get to race so much.
The problem is, yeah, it's so available.
That Phil would spend whole life training for Peloton esports just to get bent by some dude who put a washer motor on his bike.
That's not the worst idea.
That's strat, buddy.
I'm just
And they
imagining
hate
like
me because they hate me.
no, it's that's my direct drive sprocket set. What are you on about?
Zigzag says, get into motocross. I see. I don't think I'm 260 pounds. I could safely race like a 600cc or a 400cc bike and barely get away with how overweight I am, but motocross would shatter my fucking knee. There's no way. There's no way I would safely be able to motocross.
Fucking load cell handlebars broke it good. That comment just fucking sent me.
I kind of want to do that unironically just to see if it would work.
Flight Sim 1000. That's a genuinely good question. Let's change the topic before we get dumb. Do you think the consistent esports push on sim racing is hurting sim racing in general? Yes, absolutely. Like, I can literally say that I have had so many negative experiences with so many sim racing communities because they take themselves too seriously and don't understand that they're just kids playing games on the internet. Absolutely. People thinking that their sim racing matters is one of the biggest detractors of sim racing itself. Because they kind of do the opposite of the flight sim community, which cares a lot about training and making it as realistic as possible. The sim racing community is all about metagaming and taking yourself too seriously and finding all these tiny marginal advantages by doing unrealistic bullshit. And it just makes sim racing a joke. Like,
yeah. It's just a manifestation of failed dreams. Because anyone who sim races wants to be a real race driver. I want to be a fucking real race driver.
That's exactly, it's LARPing. It's literally LARPing.
And they don't know when to kill the LARPing. That's the issue.
And guys, I'll admit it, because like me and Austin are both like semi-pro level drivers in real life. Yeah, it's LARPing for us. We do it because we want to race a car or track. We know we're never going to get to race in real life. Or we use it as a training tool for a real life event, which is, why the frustration with there not being enough amateur content represented comes through. Yeah, just lose weight. Wish I could just lose weight. I need an entire lifestyle change. I've been sitting at home doing nothing, working remotely online almost for 2 or 3 years now over COVID. I've gained a lot of weight. It's very, very, very hard to put it off when you would need your entire lifestyle to change to do so. It's not as simple as just lose weight. I need a higher activity level. I need to eat less. I need to eat better, more expensive food that I can't afford that's actually healthy for me. Like, I need a lot.
So Peloton esports.
Hell yeah, brother, get on that grind.
I'm hoping I can bring my road bike I haven't ridden in like 2 or 3 years with me to my new job when I move here next week, and maybe cycle to work if I'm close enough, 15 to 20 miles twice a day.
Moving, is this the UK move you have spoken about, or is this just a move?
It is unfortunately not the full UK move. But
Rats. I was so ready to take you to British GT at Brands Hatch to introduce you to the best burger I've ever had.
Oh, man, I tell you what, if I move to England, you are not fucking stopping me from trying public bike road racing. I want to do like the Northwest 150 and like the Southern 100 and all that shit, because I know they've got classes for smaller bikes. Which is kind of actually the impetus for me getting my motorcycle racing license in the US. Not only is it cheaper, not only is it easier for me to store a bike in like a storage unit at an apartment, and I won't need to rent a shop anymore, right? And all that stuff. But it's more racing for less money, and if I do the move, there's tons of motorsport that are uniquely available for bikes over in England. They've got the public bike road racing, which is basically pro level racing for amateur level money, because the big factory teams stay out of it because they don't want their riders getting killed.
Yeah, exactly. There's all sorts of, for cars and bikes, there's all sorts of grassroots shit going on over here. You can pretty much go to anything in the US.
Yeah, and you can fit the UK inside Minnesota where I live. So like the distance between circuits, right?
It's great.
If I live in the UK, it's never going to be like, oh no, I'm in a rural part of the UK. It's going to be like, no, my drive to the racetrack is now an hour instead of 30 minutes. Like, come on,
It's fucking great. Like, I think both Silverstone and Brands Hatch are like just under 2 hours away from me. Brands Hatch is now a regular, like, kind of annual pilgrimage for me to see either British GT, or I might go to World Challenge this year, but would have gone to Silverstone to see the British GT finale. Cheer on James.
It's crazy how close the tracks are together in Europe. Like, You know, which is
Yeah.
why you have that infrastructure. Like, I think it would be a lot easier for me long term to kind of slip into that racing at the pro level without losing money, even as an owner driver thing in Europe than it would be in the US by far. It would be much easier because there's so many more televised and internet broadcasted kind of like mid-level pro or low-level pro, semi-pro series there than there is in the US.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just thinking about on my Brit car, the thing that Jimmy Broadbent he did in with Praga, and they had this lovely YouTube live stream with a very kind of admittedly amateurish overlay, but it was charming. I love just sitting there watching this little broadcast with like 200 or 300 viewers. It's a nice grassroots kind of national series.
I think for me, I'm gonna try to break into Moto America Juniors Cup in the next couple of years if I do the bike switch, and then I'm gonna keep my eye out for opportunities in America that let me make enough money to race semi-pro. And if I can't, I think I'm just gonna fucking pack up and move over there and start my life over again. So we'll see.
Fucking base. Austin saved me from becoming an elitist with his pessimism, so I thank him for allowing me to actually have fun with this hobby.
What? How does that work?
I don't know.
Positive negativity. I've actually been thinking about doing a video on this for my kind of coaching kind of videos for a while. But if you ground yourself by always telling yourself you suck and you can do better, no matter how fast you get, no matter how much you love a hobby, you will never take yourself too seriously or take it too seriously, and you'll never stop improving. So somebody, I think what he's saying, Austin, is your content being like, hey, these simulators are good and they're fun and we love them, but they actually suck at a lot of things, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
He's saying stopped him from taking himself or it too serious.
From becoming like, I love iRacing and it's the best, all their games are inferior.
Yeah, it's like
and then
Sim Racer Flight Sim 1000, what his name says. Austin helped me to break away from sim racing elites and made me understand that sim racing is not like real life, so I stopped taking sim racing seriously.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Austin, are you racing and conversing at the same time? Impressive.
Somewhat.
From Todd McDanger.
He's not that impressive.
Nah, pretty shit to be honest.
Yeah, I can do it. As a matter of fact, if you want examples of me doing it, don't forget to head on over to my YouTube channel and watch my full onboards from May at the Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas round of the National Autosport Association races, where I didn't have rain tires in the pouring rain and talked into the microphone on my helmet mic the whole time.
Doesn't that mean you should have like spun out and died?
But I didn't.
Wow.
Wow, crazy.
What is happening in front of me?
I don't know. Some whack shit. I believe this is what the kids refer to as getting wrecked.
This is what's called janky. That someone got upset that I used in the video once.
I was listening to this guy's opinion until he said janky. Blah, blah, blah. It was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I can use much more expletive-laden words.
Yeah.
What is happening here? It's like they understand what passing is, but like don't know how to pass. It's like toddlers on skates, where they're like, oh, I might body check you. I might not. So he's like trying to go around the outside of a guy in a corner when... Oh god, what the fuck?
Fuck? It also seems... I noticed this the other night when I was racing with JG1. On high difficulties, they definitely give them extra grip and power.
Yep.
For sure.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
They cheat the car up like bad.
Yep.
Stupid.
I'm going to be right back, guys. I'm going to go check on the family with dinner and about some moving stuff I'm discussing. And I might
This is terrifying. Okay.
Might not. It's fucking scary to watch, though.
This is genuinely horrible AI right now.
We will see you when we see you. Yeah, this is questionable content.
So like, can I get around this guy?
I gotta say though, what a kick-ass track. This is a hidden gem.
This is crazy.
Yeah, like particularly the in AMS1, the Salvador super trucks layout.
Yes.
That's my favorite truck to run the super trucks on, because like when you like after the left-hand hairpin, when you go up the hill, there's a ramp at the crest of that hill. You go fucking flying, like flying, and it's great.
Oh my god, he's like stopping in the middle of the corner.
But that's a valid tactic. You taught me that.
No, but don't do it in IndyCar. People will kill you.
Yes, do it in IndyCar. Your gearbox is strong, wing is weak.
That was a mess of an overtake.
I noticed several of them have busted drive shafts on the exit of that kind of artificial chicane as well.
Yeah.
Weird, man.
I'm glad I'm not destroying the car on it, because it would be an issue.
They need an AI tool like ACs, because like a pack of Osnognowski AI lines, like the IMSA Champions mod for Assetto Corsa, which you should download.
Well, some tracks in this, like, you can't fix, like these really weird and janky, like, Brazilian street circuits. There's not a lot you could do in that case.
Yeah. At this point, all Razor knows how to do well is obscure and historic content. Yeah, I get that vibe, because, like, I think I was in the midst of preparing for British GT with James, or maybe just after, and, you know, because that meant a lot of ACC. And I jumped into AMS2s, GT3s, and just like, why even bring this out when ACC exists? Like, how can you compete with a Focus title that's so relentlessly accurate? Because they're focusing on a single series, they can actually put that level of detail. Which is another rant for that's a whole other topic. Have you heard about the iRacing Daytona rescan and how it's wrecking suspensions at the back straight chicane? I saw a video from Stabbers' back where he, you know, he drove over a sausage curb at speed and it blew the front left or front right off his beamer.
That's the sausage curb, right? Like, that's not the
I
suspension
thought
itself.
that was realistic. So which back straight chicane is this? Is this the bus stop one, or?
Must be, yeah. The corner exit.
If you're running over the sausage curbs at speed, like, welcome to mechanical fallibility. You know, like, if you hit the sausage curb as hard as he did, Stabbers' back did, then you're gonna snap something. What mod for what sim and has the fixed AI lines? So don't know if it's up still. It should be up.
I took it
I know
down.
some of the.
Yeah, I redid my race department profile about a year ago.
Do you still have it to upload somewhere?
Nope.
For this man. Oh shit.
I mean, it's honestly easy enough to make your own, like, straight up.
Yeah. It's something I've considered doing, and I might do this over the coming year, maybe. But yeah, Zigzag basically sorry. Austin made some AI lines for AC, and they literally made them like human opponents. He has a video of how to fix this AI blunder. I think he called it something like that. And it's just the pinch point, you know, the no man's land thing, and Austin created. It was called the IMSA Champions AI mod for Assetto Corsa.
It hasn't been backed up anywhere, and I don't think it's on any other site, but, like, you can do it yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really easy to do it yourself if you find the tool and you follow sort of Austin's instructions. Well, not instructions, but just follow the video made about it. But it's something I want to do for all the stock AC tracks at some point, and you know, I'm just as quick as Austin, so.
This AI is fucking retarded. Like, this guy's a lap down, doesn't move.
Yeah, but the old track model didn't have the sausage curves as fierce, and like 2 weeks before 24, everyone has to relearn the line sheet as you came. If they paid attention to real life racing, they'd know that sausage curve is an issue, and they would know that, you know, you can't just fucking yeet that shit. So like, if they have to relearn the line, tough tits. Welcome to why sausage curbs are honestly pretty bad. You know, that's just realism. And I know we, you know, question iRacing's realism at times, but I think the new damage model is something they.
Unless it's like a landmine on top of the curb and it's like really fucked up, but.
Yeah. Yeah, iRacing's physics model. Now, let me finish. iRacing have the best physics model in sim racing right now, and it's the tire model which has been called into question. And of course, there's the stuff like, you know, maxing out the rebound on the shocks and all that sort of thing. But as far as the physicality of the car, how, you know, you have one object is the car chassis, and it's sort of like BeamNG. You know, it's this kind of modular thing where, because you can drive up walls and stuff, and the tire works in all directions it's supposed to work, that kind of thing, and the body has the correct sort of deformity. You can lightly brush the barrier, and it soaks up the impact instead of it being a solid brick like an AC or R factory to bounce you off. Yeah, mini tangent. iRacing has the best physics model, in my view. I watched Brad Philpott trying to break the W12 world record around the Nordschleife. He parked at an angle on the curb so that the front left wheel was up on the curb and the rear right was still on the ground, and the car rocked. AC wouldn't do that. R Factor wouldn't do that. So I have a lot of praise for iRacing's physics model. It's just the tires that need a kick in the ass. Mini tangent over.
That being said, some of the wreck physics are just odd, I think. Like, the
Yeah,
cars
I've
get
seen some
tossed
of it.
around like toys, which is
Yeah.
not right. In NRO3, that didn't happen.
I think the weight of the cars is an issue.
Yeah.
Even door-to-door contact online always felt a bit easy to like spin someone out. You can't really lean on someone, but that could also just be netcode. Not sure.
Well, let's see what gets fucked up in the pit stop.
We're totally going to steal ACC's market share. You're not going to do that. And it's like, you know, Ted was saying about, you know, how there's not enough grassroots content and all that. Just imagine if they had these sims for lower tiers or other tiers. That would be a sale for every sim developer. No joke. It doesn't matter if it's Razer, it doesn't matter if it's iRacing. It could be fucking Slightly Mad, you know, anyone. Codemasters, if they... Well, Codemasters do with the F1 games, but if everyone put out a dedicated sim to the detail of ACC, that's a sale for all of them, because right now they're trying to do all the same things. Everyone's got to have GT3s, FIA Grade A tracks. Every sim is the fucking same, it seems. And it just makes me buy like only one or two. Like, I only really use AC and ACC. Whereas if, you know, Razer did IMSA or British Touring Car Championship, and I would have bought their title, regardless of what I thought of the physics. But now the physics is the only differentiator between these fucking cookie cutter, cram everything in, jack of all trades sims. But yeah, that's another topic that's been on my mind lately. I just want more sims like ACC, and I hope that that your source on Twitter is correct, and that iRacing acquired Monster Games, because having an IndyCar game to the level of ACC, and I say to the level of ACC, I'm talking about the commitment to detail, because if you take the specific details of ACC, like they have all the right kinds of brake pads, you know, and they
Car parked in the middle of the chicane. Holy fuck!
Oh boy, I'm waiting for that to pop up. You're still on the back straight right now, just going into the hairpin now. Yeah, you think about all these tiny little details in ACC, like this really obscure, almost like GT3 specific stuff, like the different kinds of brake pads. You get like the right kind of pit stops, you know, all that kind of thing. Imagine cramming all of that stuff in for every single kind of car that's represented in, say, AC or AMS2. It's just not possible. And if it is, it'll take fucking 10 years to develop.
Or they'll
and it'll
bork
be
it,
obscene
and it'll be rolled out piecemeal, kind of like AMS2 is. Like, I really don't think this is a bad kart game, you know?
No.
But it's just,
No,
like,
but
I like being able to boot it up, and it's flashy, and it has all the real drivers, and it's got, like, the real tracks, and when you drive at a track, there's not just generic Fanatic ads, there's, like, you know, the actual, like, race ads, you know?
I put it this way. In iRacing have the best sim F1 car that's ever been created by general consensus. I haven't tried it myself yet. I hope to soon. However, I look at it, I don't feel like I'm watching an F1 race.
Yeah.
And whereas if I boot up the F1 game, yeah, the physics are whatever. You can have your opinion on the physics. I feel like I'm in an F1 race. So iRacing might make me feel like I'm driving an F1 car. The F1 game makes me feel like I'm in an F1 race. And ACC makes me feel like I'm in an SRO
Yeah.
World Challenge race or British GT race or European GT4 race, because it has, the atmosphere. You've got John Watson on the PA, you've got all the drivers, you've got all the liveries, and everything is there. Whereas, you have to make compromises if you cram everything in. Like if I run a GT3 race in AC1, and it's just like generic banners on the track, I just feel like I'm in some nameless, faceless GT3 series, and not even all the cars are there. So I think the single series sim is the way to go, and that's a good segue for reading DJ FIL 007's comment. Too bad BTCC and IndyCar is under Motorsports Games ownership currently. Also mentioned earlier on Twitter that I think it was IndyCar and who else?
IndyCar and NASCAR. The same guy who came to me saying that Penske and IndyCar was pissed off at iRacing for lipping their drivers off and basically threatening them and putting out a car that was not very accurate and wasting their time during the pro season. The same guy who leaked that info to me came to me last night around 3 a.m. He said, "Look, like I'm hearing chatter that Motorsport Games is done.
Yeah.
Not just with the NASCAR and IndyCar license, but like it's pretty much over for them as a company." And he's like, "I can't."
DJ, mate, you might get your wish, because IndyCar might be moving to iRacing with Monster Games, and they're might release like something on console that might be transferring to iRacing.
And I had a weird physics stutter there. It like stopped.
Oh boy, I'm waiting to see that. But no, I think that would be good because, iRacing and all our gripes and, historically Austin Organowski is the quote-unquote anti-iRacing channel, but I'm going to say that sounds good. That sounds good.
And you know why it sounds good is because I know people are going to mod the fuck out of it. So even if I don't like how the tires are, like there's a whole NRO3 EXE modding community. You know damn well people are going to fucking crack both games open and be like, okay, even if the tires are shit, we will fix them. And it's going to have the infrastructure for like opponent manager and being able to make car sets. Like that's what's exciting.
Because again, iRacing are like, they are a good development team, and if they, put their focus into the kind of experience, like the kind of F1 game experience, the ACC experience, that kind of thing, I think it's going to be fucking cracking. I'm looking forward to it. And I said the same thing about Motorsports Games, but I mean, we're talking about a kind of known quantity here in iRacing and Monster Games. So
honestly, with iRacing, it'll be a product very similar to NR 2003, where it's very bare bones. You can either run a season or a single race or a test session, but it'll be good physics. There'll be lots of modability to make like car sets and paint schemes. You'll be able to download cars like the old days. The .car files, that sort of thing.
I think that would be beautiful.
And that's all I need.
That would be absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
And it'll be my belief is it'll be a live service product similar. This is an interesting little predicament here. It'll be a live service product that'll be updated alongside iRacing. So when iRacing gets like a mid-season update or end-of-season update, that update will get applied to NASCAR Next Gen or whatever they decide to call it. This is a fuckfest of a race now. There's this dude trying to go like too wide with me in chicanes. There's like, I've driven past like parts going into corners. I think it's lagging because there were like wrecks on the track, and it takes...
Yeah.
The Madness motor engine has some weird hiccups when cars crash or AI cars crash.
Yeah, I saw a tire. Oh no, it's still there.
Yeah.
New pressure head that tire on the inside. Delinquent, you're spot on. GTR 3, absolutely. Good point about the comment about the 24 hours of Spa. I didn't clock that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. And I add GTR 2 to my list of single series experiences.
We already got GTR 3 multiple times, which is really funny.
Yeah, true.
Like we got it twice with the Shift games, because their whole thing was like, hey, we want to make GTR 3, and EA's like, well, you can't just sell this like obscure racing sim. So they're like, well, let's have the main class in the game at the very end of the game, FIA GT1 cars.
Yeah.
And then SMS did try and build GTR3, but I can't really talk on that because that's probably NDA, but like I've seen the trailer. I've seen the in-game footage, it existed. It just, from what I understand, like one of the investors stopped paying for it. Just because he's like, he didn't have faith in the project. Or something like that. I'd have to look into the details of it, but like it was for sure a thing. And then there was Race Room attempted to make GTR3, but then it turned into Race Room because they're like, I don't think, a single box product is going to sell because Race 07 sales are kind of stagnated, and they're like, well, we really can't just bring the same market to the product with slightly upgraded graphics, so let's copy the iRacing format. So at that point, GTR3 has been made 4 times, been released 3, and then ACC is basically GTR3. So like when people are like, well, I still want GTR3 to be made. Well, what are you talking about? An ISI game with GT cars in it? That's been made like 5 fucking times. Hell, you could say AMS is GTR3. You could say AMS2 is GTR3. Like any tin top game on ISI motor is technically GTR3.
I guess, but I mean in spirit, like because I would say ACC is still GTR3 because it's single series and official Spa 24, and GT3 is pretty much what GT1 was. It was the GT class. Yeah. So a very valid point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird argument because like the game was made 5 times, and people are like, well, that's not GTR3. Well, do you really want them to just call it GTR3 to be satisfied?
Yeah, we should be content with spiritual successes because it's like how AC is, I consider AC to be the real R-Factor 2. If you really think about it.
Basically.
Yeah.
And everyone wants Jeff Crammon to come back, or Geoff Crammon, however you say his name. Yeah. Because, those F1 games are so authentic and they had so much cool shit, and it's like, isn't that not what the Codemasters games are?
Who the fuck have you ever heard called Geoff?
It's a meme name.
Yeah, right.
But no, you know what I mean. Like everyone wants Jeff Crammon to come back, but we have the Cody's F1 games, and they're better. They are.
Yeah, they really are. No, the F1 games are cracking, and if you're missing out on it because the Italian model doesn't meet my expectations, then you're missing out, dude. It's a great game. Like my team, the detail, it's insane. It's beyond ACC detail. It's huge.
Even the best part is like, you won't play F1 2021 because it's unrealistic, but then you'll drive iRacing's new V8 supercar, which guys like Bo Albert are making videos on saying how terrible it is.
Yeah.
And that real V8 supercar drivers have come out and said the BMW Z4 in iRacing without TC is more accurate as a V8 supercar than the actual V8 supercar. So like, sim racing gets into this weird like bit of tribalism where like some of the arguments don't even make sense.
Yeah. I just got on with Fanatic equipment and I'm brand new to sim racing. Is AMS2 a good sim for beginners? I'm a huge F1 and IndyCar fan. I would encourage you, no bias with my 3,000 hours, but I would say the original Assetto Corsa would be your best shout if you're getting into sim racing because you can find it on sale on Steam for ridiculous prices. Like the complete edition is something like $4 or $5.
The problem is he has to mod the fuck out of it. Like suddenly it turns into, well, you need this payware content and you need content manager. AMS at least has IndyCar shit and F1 off the bat.
That is true. That is true. So it's down to how willing you are to. I would say AC is the best experience when it's. To be fair, it's just content manager and then the custom shaders patch is one button, and it's a good modding platform.
Yeah.
But yeah, AMS2 I think is good right off the bat if you just want the content in the sort of plug and play.
Yeah, if you just want to race AMS2, P-Cars 2, Race Room, but like if you enjoy the modding side of PC gaming, I would go with AC. But like everyone has a different threshold for like what kind of modding they enjoy.
Very true. But again, it's AC isn't much harder than R-Factor.
It's not, but like just the interface is like flight sim tier. Like just setting up a race in AC, like to manually individual pick cars, is not fun.
Yeah, to do that.
You don't?
Yeah, you can set all kinds of custom grids.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the fact that it's a custom grid as opposed to like how streamlined like ISI motor shit is.
Oh no! If I want a GT3 race, I'll just be like, I'll just go to the drop down in Content Manager, be like, similar, yeah, same class, that kind of thing. and it fills the grid up with however many cars I specify, and it's just a random grid
Okay,
of GT3s.
that works.
Yeah.
I have
You
my
don't
shit
to
configured
manually
a
set
little
the grid.
different.
Yeah. No, you don't have to manually set every livery on every AI driver. You can just send it. Same car is a good one because then I can load up the Porsche Super Cup or the Huracan Super Tri and have that single series race. I would love to play iRacing if it wasn't for the monthly subscription in other countries. That's unbelievably expensive because there's no regional pricing in their website, so it's basically inviable. Yeah, the cost of iRacing is... I think it's a good sim. I think the online experience is unrivaled. However, the price for what it is a bit eye-watering.
They need a better system to be more consumer friendly, because like there's cars in the game that people just don't drive, and you can essentially buy like $80 worth of content and not get in an official race.
Yeah.
Like the Dallara IR01, that fake F1 car they made, looks sweet, but you could buy it for like $15 and realize no one's driving it, and they make no effort to tell you that.
You almost need to LARP with real money because you got to pick which series you want to drive, then you got to buy a car, and then you got to buy each track in the series, which is, you could put down to fuel costs for the truck, the hauler truck, or whatever.
In most racing games, it's pretty common for people to own like 100% content. Like AMS2, there's people who own everything. AC, there's people who just went out and bought all the DLC. iRacing doesn't factor that into how their own customers buy their game. Because like a lot of racing fans, if they like a racing game, they'll buy everything for it, just because a lot of them are like completionists, or like they just like having everything. It's not OCD, but it's like there's just people who like collecting shit or just having everything. iRacing is built in a way where it doesn't factor that kind of purchasing mentality in. So they just think people are going to buy what they need to race, and it's actually a lot more convoluted to do that, because you have to start like penny pinching. Like Tyler had to do that when he was on EI, I think, just in between work, just because he works construction, so he's off during winters. So he's like having to like penny pinch of like what he should buy and what he shouldn't for a week in iRacing, and like that's not fun. Because it can get like stupid expensive, and sometimes you don't like get a whole lot out of it. Like you could buy a car, like there were cars he bought where he's like, that looks interesting, like I'll drive the super late model. And then he's like, oh, I'm actually not very good at this, but now I spent $15 on a car that like I will never drive again. So there's a lot of that happening, where at least with like AC DLC or Reza DLC, it's like, well, you bought a pack of cars. It's usually pretty good bang for your buck, and it's usually somewhat cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Assetto Corsa, even in its prime, when it was all full price, they came out with the Dream Pack 1, which is a laser scan Nürburgring Nordschleife in all configurations with 10 cars for the price of one iRacing track.
Yeah.
So...
And again, people were wondering, like, okay, if you own both games, like, how can iRacing justify that price when another game who's modeling things just as in-depth, who's in the same genre, is charging something completely different?
It's that tribalism, I guess.
Well, it'd be like if
iRacing, they have the elite, the sort of elite iRacer, the dedicated.
My fake race car is far better than yours.
It would be like it's like going to a mall and there's two hot dog stands next to each other, and one sells like a $20 hot dog, and one sells a $5 hot dog, and you look at them and you compare them. And you're like, they're both the exact same fucking hot dog.
No, what? No, my hot dog has load cell meat in it.
But then you find out it's like one is like imitation meat, and it's the expensive one.
Yeah, and the one from the stand on the hot dog works better when it's cold.
The hot dog tastes better when it's cold. Yeah, like if iRacing was the only like proper racing sim out there, and it didn't really have an equivalent, like kind of how Madden NFL is the only NFL game, and it's like the only like major football game by developer. So like your options are Madden or like nothing, or like some like Steam game for $5. Then you know, it would make sense their pricing model, but here it's like, okay, you can buy the exact same car in a different game for like a fraction of the price, and it drives sometimes better.
GP4 had marshals pushing cars. Codemasters F1 doesn't have that yet. Well, I'm not sure if that's like sarcasm or like joking, but you need to look into the amount of other detail that cozies have put into that game.
They probably can't do it because they're worried about people griefing and like running over the marshals and being funny men. That's probably why.
Probably, yeah. But I mean, if you look into like even just the My Team mode alone, all the detail they've stuffed into that game, then if you're genuinely like kind of eschewing it because it doesn't, it misses one visual feature from a sim from however long ago.
And like a feature that didn't even really matter in the grand scheme of things, like it was cool, but it wasn't integral.
Yeah, if that's genuinely blinkering yourself to a great game, man, you gotta look at the positives. You gotta look at the positives. If people looked at the positives with each title instead of the negatives.
Unless the negatives are like really bad.
Oh yeah, if the negatives are game breaking.
I would argue if the negatives are fundamental.
Yeah, but fucking not having marshals push my shit off the track when I put it in the wall because I'm a dumbass, that's not a game breaking deal.
It creates a lack of immersion. I would say the fact that the race weekend on racing simulators don't feel immersive in general is a problem. There's no there's no pushback. There's no pushback from the paddock spot and then starting the car and then pulling forward and rolling through the paddock. Nobody's complaining about having to do that. Nobody's complaining about having to go to the weighbridge right after the race. Nobody's complaining, although they do, and fair enough, because the answers you can. Nobody's complaining about having to answer like PR questions to the press, which is a thing in F1 My Team. But most games don't have that, and most people don't give a shit.
They even have a laser scanned Will Buxton.
Maybe that is what causes a lot of the role-playing in sim racing, is because there's just so much missing. People are like, well, I want to play these games more, but there's nothing to do, so like I got to get my girlfriend to hold fake interviews with me on YouTube. You know?
I don't know.
Yeah. Because 2 is like $6 on sale for the base game. That's 15 with all DLC. That's a good shout. I mean, Because 2 isn't terrible. Because 2 isn't the best, but it isn't terrible. I enjoyed my time at Because 2. Just got to make sure to calibrate your wheel correctly. And
yeah, because that was an issue we ran into, right? Like if you change rotation or you don't calibrate it, it like fucks with the steering sensitivity a whole lot.
Yeah, like the in-game wheel was matching my real wheel, so that's usually the sign that everything's calibrated and working correctly. But it just felt like dog ass. So I went and calibrated my wheel thinking it wouldn't make a difference, and it did. So you got to be careful with Because 2, but I mean it's not a bad. Just don't expect the most realistic experience ever, and you'll have fun with it. Like I said, focus on the positives.
Some cars are definitely too grippy, like the Group C prototype, especially it's like the Nissan ZXT. It's just like silly. Like I remember I even went and started doing like lap time comparisons because I was curious, and I was like, this is not right. But it was too far in development to like make those changes, so oopsie, lol.
I'm all for these games. No, you go.
The real patrician's choice is P-Cars 3. You get to drive Formula E.
Hell yeah. I'm pitching a tent right now. Actually, the Formula E car in LFS is kind of fun.
Yes.
I don't mind that.
They're really torquey. They got kind of the street cars. They got the really weird, awkward, kind of tight circuits. If you treat Formula E like autocrossing a car, it's fun. If you treat it like circuit racing a car, it's not. You just
I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way.
Just literally think I'm doing like an autocross or an auto solo, or I'm doing one of those time trial events they host for real street car for street cars where they do time attacks at like a karting track.
Mm-hmm.
So that the track is way smaller than the car. Just think of it like that, and immediately Formula E becomes fun. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, I might tune in and try that. That's just completely turned on its head for me. I'm all for these games you guys talk about. The problem is a lot of games these days, AI is usually problematic, especially around running ovals. If you want good oval AI, NASCAR Racing 2003 season, get
Or
the
iRacing.
revamped, reloaded.
Yeah.
True. Although I can't, I haven't tried personally the Oval AI because I haven't been on the service since they introduced it. But my experience NR 2003 with the revamped, reloaded AI, INI, and N ratings, that is the best offline AI racing I've ever had, like road or oval. That shit was amazing. I would just get on in the evening and do like a Coca-Cola 600 or like a reduced distance. Danica would always be at the back, because N ratings is just accurate, and it was just sick. They acted so much like humans. It was so much fun. So NASCAR 03, in my mind, is unbeaten.
You should be calling NASCAR 03 Kim Jong because it's got a license to ill, because that shit is sick.
Wow, this is a fucked race it ended to be. The leader's caught in lap traffic, and we almost caught him.
Oh boy.
That's
No.
That reminds me of do you remember that race we did at Iowa? It
Yep.
was like multi-class with trucks or something, was it?
No, it
No,
was just Craftsman truck.
That's right. But we were fighting through back markers on fresh tires and shit to the end. Man, imagine if we streamed that.
Number 15, Iowa 150.
Taking a leaderboard setup and going at it for half an hour. You just turn the wheel more, well now the grip is infinite. Yeah, what the fuck. So Jose Lopez is gonna get us in that race, that's fine though. That was a lot of fun.
You need to go good, son. I don't pay you to come second. We'll talk after the stream. The sound of this car, man, incredible. I wouldn't know because I've had to mute the stream because then I get an Osnogonovsky echo chamber. Could you imagine that?
Talks to you about going to see prostitutes constantly while also saying that it doesn't have vices such as drinking.
So what happened? This was the opening wreck.
Dude, listen to your voice. I made you so uncomfortable. I'm sorry.
I mean, I have a Playboy model picked out.
You're a fucking slob. I hate you. You're a
Wait,
vile,
kiss, kiss.
cretinous creature. I bet
So-
you peel your foreskin back and it's like a fucking ocean.
So my man just like junked my other man.
Even before that, they were wrecking in the chicane behind you.
Well, yeah, it's a weird track, man. He got fucking sent. That's like a true SRS race. And of course, because it's the Madness engine, I can't skip ahead to late in the race. Oh no, of course that happened. Yeah, like this is NRO. So NR03, they would be like, "Oh no, I have to slow down. There's a car in the middle of the track," and this motherfucker is just like, "If gap car." And yeah, like half the field is destroyed behind, so I don't know what happened here.
Oh shit!
Oh, they did.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, I just saw that one. That hurt.
So again, perfect. Someone brought up about like the AI issues. Like perfect example here. We start the race with not even a full grid of cars, and we can't make it through turn 1 because they just couldn't do the AI properly.
To be fair, that's accurate. I mean, you and I race in leagues and SRS.
I have done a league race at this track, and it wasn't this bad. But yeah, I guess they all just got fucking turned around.
I was about to make a very similar point. That guy coming across the track. No, it's not realistic AI behavior for real racing, but it is fucking realistic AI behavior for fucking
Sim racing
Ted,
clubs.
Yeah, Ted, he's had to beg his wife to let him buy a fucking $600 Fanatec setup and just entered his first league in a fucking 1,000 horsepower car.
Yeah.
This is impressive. Oh, this guy has no idea what's going on. There we go. You did it, bud. Shitty fucking AI.
I had a great time with F1 2020, especially after Mercedes offered me a seat after Monaco and they booted Lewis, the championship leader, instead of Bottas. Now, that's just
okay.
That's just alpha Chuck. That's just the Chuck thing. That's just the most Chuck thing I've ever heard.
What
I fully expect that to happen.
most arcade physics? Oh.
Yeah, see, there's a reason I ignored that question, because it's not even...
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Monster Truck Championship. Because you can't spin up the tires on corner exit. The trucks have traction control. That's your answer. I was so excited for that game because the Monster Jam game was kind of too arcadey. And so they're like, hey, we made this game, and it's, you know, somewhat realistic truck behavior and realistic events and like circuit designs, and I think it's on the old Path of Destruction engine, which is a game I really didn't mind. And I bought it, and I'm like, man, for a 1500 horsepower truck, I should be able to just mat it off the corner and like light up all 4 tires. And instead it bogs like I'm driving a fucking like 350 horsepower Nissan.
They wheel spin only slightly because they're so fucking heavy. And they've got torque converters, and there's so much reduction in them.
No, but like, you know what I mean, right? Like when you see guys like whip around a hairpin at the World Finals, like halfway through the corner they mat it and the truck just picks up and the engine starts screaming. And instead it would lose RPM. And I was like, that's weird.
They do launch, but I mean, there's not much wheel spin because, you know, they got these great big shit hook tires as well. In developing the Monster Jam simulator, one of the handiest things that they did was bring out these BKT tires with a big white lettering on the side, because that gives you a direct look at what the wheel is doing in relation to the ground speed wise under, you know, multiple sort of acceleration deceleration loads. So if you pay attention to those logos when someone does a launch, they don't wheel spin that much on dirt. They will on tarmac. Like on asphalt, you know, you can fucking drift them, but on dirt they really hook up good. And like I said, there's the torque converter, there's all the reduction in them.
You should give the game a try one point. It's light and it is on illegal, horrible, no good sites.
Is this, which game is this?
Monster Truck Championship.
Monster Truck Championship. Okay, I will.
It's interesting.
I'll give my. You know, I think I'm quite qualified to give my opinion.
Ooh, what's your opinion on SRX? That's a good one. Ted likes it. I like the game. The series is honestly overrated.
I liked it.
I think he was asking about the game, and he said, "Did we mention it earlier?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just basically said, like, yeah, we like it. The series itself is
average.
Is okay. It's meant to be like a national level race of champions thing, basically. Yeah. Which, you know, is fine. Until you realize how awful the American pro racing talent pool is. So it definitely helps illustrate that problem if you watch it closely enough.
It's yeah, like some of the races were just not very captivating. I mean, I tried to watch all of them because it's a 6-race season. The races went by pretty fast, but like it resembles like your average like short track late model race where like people get strung out. Whoever's on it that night typically walks away, and like that's it. The slinger finish was good, but like I think the opening race at Stafford was like really boring. Like there were just long dead periods.
At the same time, though, I was just happy to see that, you know, small town, you know, or short track racing at somewhere like Stafford was on like national TV with all these superstars. I think that aspect alone was that was so cool to see.
Yeah, it's a throwback to like early 2000s or late 90s TNN when they do Busch Series races on like Motor Madness on a Friday night.
Yes.
Like that was really cool because like they would just do a simple pan across the property to like open the race, and it was fucking packed. And it was cool.
It feels like it was sort of like this kind of almost life-changing big break for some of these tracks. Almost felt like.
Yeah, and like those tracks are still like really important in their communities, and like Nashville's doing okay, Stafford's doing okay, Slinger's, you know, obviously doing fine, but it's just like. It's cool when you have a fuckload of people show up in a space that's not very big.
Yeah, exactly. Have you played the second Monster Jam game Rainbow put out? If you're talking to me, I haven't. Well, I've played the first one. Didn't mind it. I mean, it's not really, you know, kind of rigs of rods realism in terms of the physics, but you know, some of the fundamental concepts are there, and you know, I was pretty quickly able to slap wheelie and donut and full saves, all that sort of thing. Yeah, good game. It's probably the best in terms of realism. I think it's the best that the official Monster Jam game has gotten.
Yeah.
I'm keen to try the second, but they didn't hook me up with the code this time. Sadly.
It reminds me of like just the MX ATV games from back in the day, where there's like a ton of mid-air control. Like you can do like crazy stuff with your truck when you're in the air. That's like completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
And when your truck does flip, sometimes the tires will bite in really weird ways and do like crazy shit. Not even like unrealistic shit, but like genuinely broken moments where the truck does like 80 flips.
Yes.
It's like the tires randomly load up even when there's no pressure on them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I still have to try out the second one. I can only speak about the first. But, you know, the very first time I picked it up, I was out in Vegas at World Finals. And then they had, like, the public booths there for the public to try. And, you know, I pretty much did a moonwalk right off the bat. So it was very intuitive. There are the physics oddities you mentioned, but otherwise, solid game. And, you know, Rainbow Studios close to my heart because of motocross madness, kind of thing. So good deal all around. There were worse track racing sims.
Somebody in the chat said MX versus ATV is goated. Yes, objectively correct.
That's sick.
Guy wants to know, how does he calibrate his wheel? Basically what you do for P cars is you run it at 900 in the profiler, but you can also run it, like for AMS2 I run it at 460. So I really don't need anything more than that. And then what you do, like during the calibration process, you turn it all the way to the left so it's soft locks, and then you hold it there, you press X, and then you unwind it to like the lock value you set in the profiler. So you just unwind the wheel until it would say like 460 on the screen. I can do it right now, actually. I'll show you how to calibrate it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
PSA.
Race is over anyway. What did you think of the Kart World Series PS1 game? I have that on PS1. I have a physical copy, and I have that. I've played that with a wheel on Duck Station, and it's actually kind of fun. The only issue is that you have to keep... They didn't scale pit stop, so you have to pit every 8 laps if you do a full-length race on like an oval, which is really stupid. Anyway, here we go. So controls, this will be the same for P cars. Do pedals first. That's pretty easy. So calibrate wheel. I'm at 460 in my profiler, so I turn until it soft locks, which is here. So it's like, I guess that'd be 180 degrees, or a little more than 180. Hold it there, you press X, then you unwind it until it says the same value that's in your profiler. So I unwind it to 460. Very, very slow. Hold it there, press X. That's all you have to do. And that'll save you some headaches. Anyway, I think stream's kind of reached the end of its life, really. I'll check who's playing this game online in multiplayer. Show off the pain that is playing AMS2 in Western Hemisphere hours.
Yeah, we're getting to the part of the stream where everybody starts asking about have you heard of Butthole Racer 69 for like the Sega Genesis, and it's like, okay, guys, we haven't played every single racing game ever.
I probably have.
There's a lot of just like empty servers here, but
bitches don't know about the thermodynamic tire model in Toy Story Racer for Game Boy Color.
Qualifying 15 minutes.
God.
I don't know if it's fixed setup or not, but we'll try and have some.
Guys, I definitely want to buy AMS2, so out of all the unique and amazing content they put in the game, I can have another simulator where I drive GT3 cars at Road America. That's what I want.
This was my rant earlier, because, like, just think, so you have this set of developers, you know, you have Razer, you have Codemasters, you have so on and so forth, you have Kunos, so on and so forth. And they're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And there are like 6 or 7 sims where you can drive like a fucking Porsche 911 GT3R at the Nürburgring GP track.
Yeah.
Which means I only need AC or ACC. Whereas if all of these devs only just did like a single series thing like GTR or ACC, you know, if AC did ACC did GT3s, which they have, and you know you have
iRacing did all the NASCAR stuff, and then AMS2
IMSA
IMSA or all the open wheel stuff, and then We had another sim dev do like Trans Am or like American Semi Pro Racing, or they only focused on 1, 2, 3 series at a time. And then we
Regardless
had
of-
and then we had a game that did modding. Like everything's covered. Like I'm sick
Yeah.
of buying a new simulator every 3 or 4 years and everybody going, "Oh, guys, look, they're gonna have a current GT3 car." It's like fucking, dude, go choke on arsenic. I don't care. Do anything else with your time. Get a fucking personality. Holy shit.
But the thing is,
Thousands of racing series available, and you want to drive the same fucking shit and pretend you're a real race car driver. I'm driving a GT3 car at Road America. Hurt yourself.
And all it is content bait, because like the people who buy those games don't even play them. They make a 20-minute YouTube video where they're like, "Hey guys, so-and-so
Hey
game
guys,
just released the new
why-
GT3 car for this game. It's the same as the GT car in all the other games, but I'm going to drive it for a few laps," and then they run 4
Hey
seconds
guys,
off
it's
pace.
me, fuckshit Spoon Dick 59 here at Road America in the Porsche 911 GT3 RS.
best usernames.
Today I'm going to do some hot laps that are 5 seconds a lap off the pace to tell you, well, it feels really good when I'm exiting this corner right here. It's like, gee,
The
thanks.
thing is, all of these devs, regardless of how I feel about their fucking physics or their tire model or whatever, that's a sale for all of them. Each one of them. If they each pick a series and stick with it. But no, I've got all these sims, all the fucking same, with all the same content. So the differentiator is how it feels. I don't drive like R Factor 2 because I don't like the way you have to do these micro drifts in the car to be fast. No. So that's the differentiator. But if they all had a series, that would be a sale for each dev.
Yeah,
Because
they'd all
there's the
have
IndyCar
a
game, there's the
sales
BTCC
pitch.
here.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
They'd all have a sales pitch. Hey, we have something nobody else has. We license this thing that nobody else has. I don't know why. I really don't understand, especially the people with iRacing. I know why it is. They want to milk money off of stupid 80-year-old graybeards who think they're going to be a real race car driver. But I don't know why iRacing hasn't. iRacing is owned by the people who made GPL, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Why don't they go through and find another defunct racing series that costs $0 in free row cents for them to license and do like a whole 1975 World Endurance Championship sim? Why don't they do a whole 1999 Trans Am Championship sim? Why doesn't somebody
They'll
do
cry.
like a whole...
They'll cry it won't sell, and then they'll be like, "Hey guys, do you want a Formula V?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then everybody fucking jelked themselves into the orbit over the Formula V on iRacing. They finally got a club car! Oh, I gotta stretch my pee-pee out! Oh! It was like, yeah, okay, it won't sell, air quotes. Fucking suck a schlong. Fuck you.
Hey guys, we can't make a boxed sim. It won't sell. Do you guys want to drive the Kia Optima?
I hate you. I hate you so much. Oh, go suck a spike. I fucking hate you.
Well, like race room, the
Suck a
NSU TT Cup.
So sad.
Dude, Chuck does hot laps, bunch of 80s and 90s Formula Fords. My man.
Oh
So
my
racist.
god,
Oh.
yes!
Come.
Dude, I'm telling you, why hasn't anybody like, okay, so GPL was like 1967 F1, the last season before Wings, right?
Hmm.
Why hasn't anybody done like a 1975 World Sports Car Championship mod? Like the last year, I think it was like 1975 through 1979 or something, was the last set of rules before Group C. It was called Group 6. It was a little bit more modern than something like a Porsche 917, but a little bit easier to drive and slower than a Group C car, right?
Mm.
It would be fucking perfect. And it still had stuff like the full Nürburgring layout, 1,000-kilometer race, you know, like the Fuji 1000K, all this kind of crazy, like really good stuff, and nobody's done it. And the World Sports Car Championship has been defunct long enough. You could use Creative Commons to license the game like they did with GPL and not have to pay any licensing fees. I don't know. It's stupid. I don't want another GT3 car at the Nürburgring. And guys, honestly, this is why so many people have their simulator race booking systems fail too. Like nobody's gonna hop on World Sim Series and race another Porsche 911 Cup car Barcelona Hot Lap Challenge in AC. The game's been out for 8 fucking years. Nobody wants to drive that anymore. Get back.
That was the
Seriously.
jankiest 30 seconds of my life in AMS2. It wouldn't
just
let me
noticed-
join until I picked my livery, so I can't run the yellow car. I have to drive the orange car. But but I wanted the yellow car. Then the join button appeared, but I clicked the join button, and it took like 10 seconds for the track to actually like go to the join flow. And then the car thumbnail loaded in like a second later after the thing loaded. So, thanks, AMS. Excellent.
Oh yeah, I just saw that as you were describing it. But at least you can pick the color of your car before going into an online lobby. Am I right?
Ooh, look at my tire readout. My right front is nuked, my left rear is optimal, and then my left front and right rear are fucked.
I have to
Very
wait
cool.
until we actually catch up and I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, you fucking spoilers.
Yeah, you're like
God.
15 seconds ahead of us. Stop asking
Jesus
us live
Christ,
questions.
Ooh, and
Fucking
it
fucking
like
amateur,
it
you
glitched
bitch.
somewhat. Softs maybe? Question
You're
mark?
ugly.
Sure.
I hate you. Pay me $200.
P-Cars 2 has the Alpine A442 in it. Yeah, I would love to see more Group 6 stuff in Sims, but like nobody does it. Very weird.
Yeah. Like if
Very, very weird. Very
I
ignored
don't-
era.
I don't play on Factor 2 just because I don't need it.
I don't need it.
But if they did that fucking, you know, that endurance series you were talking about, that sports car series, sale from me.
Yeah, pretty
fucking
easy.
simple, devs. Make yourself more money. You think it won't sell, but it will. To artists like me.
Yeah, it's like, guys, sim racing is already a niche enough hobby. If you do something in it that's unique, people are gonna buy it for that uniqueness factor. Like,
Fucking love GTL. Well, I do love GTL. That's actually a good point. GTL is like, it's not even historic racing. It's FIA like,
Nostalgia racing.
yeah, nostalgia
Sort of,
racing.
Yeah,
like
nostalgia
modern day.
drag racing and shit.
That's a sick idea. You know, like it's not in period or anything. It's just like the game of the modern vintage series. That's a cool deal. Yeah, I meant to say GPL, but you know.
yeah, and iRacing. If anybody from iRacing is ever gonna listen to me about anything, go scan club tracks and do vintage reskins and your modern tracks you have the licenses for your Lotus 49 drivers, please.
Nut. Yep.
Please.
GTs are cool. I hate GT3s. I like GT3s. They're fun, but that's probably just because I'm good at them.
I like GT3s, but they're fucking boring.
I think you're fucking boring. That's a joke.
Yeah.
I don't. That was it.
Probably deserve to be told that. I just why do you guys think the only car I've been driving in AC is the new TA2 Camaro RSS made? Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's really fun. It's a road course late model.
Actually, that was VRC, Virtual Racing Cars, not Racing Studio.
I don't really care.
Incorrect.
I really don't care. Question.
Alexa, play Can You Feel My Heart?
Yeah, here's my thought. Here's my thought-making process. Is it a real-life race team? Yes. Okay, well then I would care. Yes. If it's not, no. Okay, then I don't care. Good. Misidentified a sim racing team. Cool. Sweet. Okay. Another series that could potentially make a decent amount of profit is 90s IMSA GT. Yeah, and you wouldn't even really have to license it because modern IMSA isn't even owned by the same people and doesn't have like the same copyrights, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure you could do an IMSA Camel GT series game and get away with it.
I would love to see like what was the series? I should know the series. I'm ashamed. But
What
it's,
kind of car? What was the thing?
GT2s, and I'm thinking of the clip at Laguna Seca between Bergmeister and
that
Magnussen.
was the
classic
American Le Mans series.
Game of
The
that.
American Le Mans series was when the FIA was overseeing U.S. endurance racing when IMSA was out of business in like the late 90s and early 2000s after IMSA went tits up before it got revamped, revitalized.
That era of GT racing, bring me that.
It's in Racer,
whole, like-
that whole class.
Yeah.
Be the
I
C6,
want
the
that.
GT2, and then the BMW GT2.
But I want to go into Laguna Seca with that grid as, you know, Jan Magnussen and be fighting with Bergmeister through like the LMP class. You know, splitting that Ford GT into turn one like they did. There's so much more experiences out there. So many more experiences than what we're currently given.
Had to lock it down to avoid a retard in front of me. Oh, we can go through each other? That's interesting.
Yeah, make an 80s or 90s IMSA or SCCA game with those wild GTO and Trans Am cars anyway. Yeah, or do like an old Speed Vision World Challenge game. USA Speed Vision Touring Car Challenge. Do a game on that from the 90s with guys like Randy Popst and Ross Bentley and all those guys.
Classic Le Mans game. It's not a bad shout.
Classic Le Mans game would be good.
I do casual racing with a guy who was there to see that Laguna Seca battle live and didn't know how famous it was until we told him a few months ago. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, I really miss pro racing. I want to get on live TV and do some fucking wild shit that gets like clipped on YouTube. I don't even care if it's a bad thing. There's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah, true.
Because I just know if I get back to pro racing again and I get interviewed on TV, I'm gonna like win like my first pro race since 2016. People will be like, Ted, what does it feel like being back? And I'm gonna say like some heinous shit live on air that they can't even hope to censor. The whole thing's just gonna be a censor.
No, I have crashed in this corner.
Burr, Ted, how you won your first race in however many years? How do you feel? Cunt, booba, boobs, suck my dick, dick, boobs.
Wiener, dicks, piss, shit, big, smelly, swampy, flabby wieners.
Or you just like say all that in like really serious inflect, just like, sweaty anus, large penis, moderate tits,
like
piss out of my
32
arse,
tits.
Anal injections, but primarily
This
I'm thinking
video
of,
is monetized, but it is no longer monetized.
Yeah, I know exactly what will happen too, because just like my fucking autism brain, they're gonna ask me how it feels to like win a race, and I'm just gonna give the I know exactly.
A 19-minute lecture on trains.
No, I'm gonna fucking look at the lady or guy interviewing me. And I'm gonna be like, what the fuck do you think it feels like? It feels good. Like, what do you want me to say? A 1.
Feels fucking great, man.
Oh, they're gonna be like,
Also,
great workout there today. That was a dominating performance. And I'm gonna be like, I still feel like there's another. And then I'm gonna like say a lap time like 0.3 of a second faster than my best. That's like a new track. Like,
or just spark at them, be like, are you calling me fat?
Faster.
Start crying in victory lane.
No, I'm not gonna do anything like that. It has nothing to do. I'm being honest about the dumb shit that I would actually probably say. You know me. You've been on calls with me when I would races. Wow, good drive, Ted. I went a bit slower than I could have. There was this lap time in it.
Also, Augie, you can just delete the VOD like you did the other day, you pussy.
I know.
Yeah. It's gonna get age restricted. Yeah, if you're watching this channel with us 3 on here and you don't know that it's automatically you're gonna have to be age restricting yourself, there's no hope for you.
Yep. We are not responsible. Your parents are responsible for your internet access.
No, I know exactly what's going to happen. It's gonna be like, Ted, you drove around 3 people around the outside. How do you have the confidence to do that? And I would just like give them a weird look and say, I just made the move. Like, what do you want? I did it. It was fun. Next.
I would just slip something in at the end to make her go, wait, what? So I'd be like, yeah, I feel really good to have finally made it here. To
I joked it around the
Champions.
outside.
And yeah, it feels good. The car felt good. I want to thank the guys back at the shop, and the car drove so good that I'm pitching a tent. I'm a little wet right now, so yeah, things are going good.
No, it would be like the biggest big dick thing. It'd be like, yeah, you know, I had a lot of fun. The team is me. I want to thank my sponsor, who's me. I want to thank my head mechanic, who's me. And I want to thank my driving instructor, who's me. If any of you guys want to make it so that I don't have to thrash myself every waking moment of my life to make it to the racetrack and also pay my bills, send me some money, because I'm that goddamn
Put
good.
Put your
money.
PayPal on your car. Well, I might do that. I have ad space.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I would do it. I'm still waiting for that Ram Ranch Austin Oganowski sponsorship with all that fucking Bitcoin money.
Yeah, no doubt. I can't believe I ran that car and no one said anything.
Oh,
Unrestricted internet access is a good thing for kids. Seeing Goatsy at age 10 is good for your mental health and development.
Sure. Sure, that's definitely truthful. Yep, nothing incorrect about that statement at all. Okay, let's talk about something else. Let's not talk about kids seeing porn.
I don't
Yeah.
think I ever showed my Ram Ranch car on the stream or anything like that, but it was godly. It's on Race
NASCAR
Department.
fan 24 dude says, what was y'all's thoughts? Yeah, y'all's. Ugh, gross. On the Pippo Durrani and Ricky Taylor incident.
Who?
Or Jordan Taylor incident.
I'd say yawn.
I thought it was a desperation move. The dive was really late, and Durrani knew that if he got hit from behind, he could say it was Taylor's fault because Taylor was the car responsible for making a safe overtake. So he blocked him really late under braking on purpose to try to get hit and then get a penalty out of it. You know, it was pretty standard pro racing where both drivers were being as dirty as they could possibly get away with under the rules, and I don't think much more of it other than that. I look at situations like that and think about, yeah, it's a pro driver doing their job, is what I think about situations like that. I'm not one of these morons who's like, oh, but this driver's dirty, or this driver did this. It's a race. The drivers are getting paid to try to win. They're going to stretch the rules as much as possible. Both drivers did so. One of them ended up winning in that situation, and one of them ended up not winning in that situation. That's all that happened.
I think I should run hards instead of softs here, because it's, like, not planted at all. It's a really tough car to drive.
That was it. He just rubbed himself on the way back, on the way past. Bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're fucking crying about that, you're a pussy. Don't ever even touch a racing sim. Like, touch grass.
Yeah, I personally didn't think it was that bad, but there's a lot of people really pissed off on the internet about it.
Fucking couch races.
Somebody asked me, who do I think is the worst motorsports commentator? I know I'm better than most professional motorsports commentators, so I don't really bother learning their names, frankly.
Austin?
Ken Stout's terrible.
What the fuck did you just say to me?
I grew up listening to Mike Hogwood.
Who's Ken Stout?
Speed Channel commentator from the mid-2000s. He was in everything.
Okay.
Ken Stout
I know who I like. I really like Calvin Fish. I like Calvin Fish. I like Lee Diffie. I like David Hobbs. I like Steve Matchett. I actually don't like Will Buxton. I think he's a little bit insufferable.
Yeah, he is a bit...
He's a younger guy who thinks his political opinions matter when he's literally a mouthpiece for a massive corporation, so...
Uh-oh.
I kind of just don't like him morally because he goes on rants on Twitter and shit like that. But that's like... He's like the same age as my older brother. He's a millennial, so he just does that. Like, that's his whole thing, is he's really self-important. His whole attitude is really self-important. I liked Will Buxton when he was a young, fresh, new commentator on Speed Channel's F1 broadcast in, like, the early 2000s and early 2010s. I thought he was good then, but now that he's been a commentator in F1 for, like, 10 years, he thinks he's way more important than he is, and I can't stand him anymore.
I can't drive this fucking car. This is terrible.
Yeah, it's because of your fucking hands. Why are you trying to turn in so fast? I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'm watching you turn the wheel really aggressively on the quarter entry and spin every time you do it. Slow down your goddamn hands.
Okay.
You see how that immediately worked? Slower turn in, start your brake bleed a little bit earlier. You're over-rotating the back of the car and overloading the front. Just unloading the back of it too much.
Trying to drive it too much like AC, where you just throw the car into the corner all the time.
Yeah.
I
Chuck,
would
this
deep
hot left
voice
says,
correct.
I missed the Hobbs Matchett Diffie trio on MBSN watching F1. So much fucking lads. Yeah, that was honestly, in my opinion, like the best broadcasting trio ever. So many IMSA fans seem to absolutely hate Lee Diffie. I don't understand that. Lee Diffie's like a really good commentator.
Oh Christ! When Lee Diffie filled in for Rick Allen in NASCAR, when Rick was in London, I think, for the Olympics, Tokyo, whatever.
That sounds right.
Oh, that was amazing. I love Lee Diffie.
Hobbs is fucking great. I love Hobbs.
I love James Hunt. Not that I was sort of watching F1 when he was commentating, but
yeah,
it was unequivocally based. this fellow has the mental age of 10, and it's a shame that he's allowed to continue interfering with motor racing.
Austin, you're doing a lot better already. Good job.
It's
Good job, Buggy.
it's fucking loose.
Yeah, I know it is.
Your mum's fucking loose.
So drive it like it's fucking loose then. Yeah, Bob Varsha is great. Bob Varsha also, despite being an older gentleman, still has fan-fucking-tastic hair. He's got that thing where he's got like a lion's mane going out where his hair is like wide and tall only in the back. He's got like a fucking golden mane flowing
Don't
around
get me
him.
started on that shit. I'm bald at 28. It's horrible.
I'm going bald at 23. It's happening for sure. It's already starting.
You're only 23. Oh, you're just a little baby.
I'm not a baby. Fuck you.
You're just a little wee man.
Mom liked me last night. It was old enough for her. How about that, huh?
Oh, so you
A little
revived
bit of
her from the
Xbox
dead
Live
then.
in this chat.
So you revived her from the dead.
Xbox
then, huh?
Live, hey?
No,
Oh.
she's not. No, she's not. She's not.
It's uncomfortable. I was gonna say, we wanted to start talking about dead parents. I'm like the king of that.
Oh, I'm joking. She's fine.
I'm the king of dead parents. What the fuck?
What?
Oh boy.
Should I be running hards here?
I don't know.
I'll take hards.
I don't know.
Do you think I know?
No.
Me, who like doesn't even make my own sim racing broadcast series half the time. You're asking me for.
I think my two worst though are David Croft and Rick Allen. Don't like Rick Allen, and especially don't like David
Actually,
Croft.
you know what? You know what? Croft is pretty fucking horrible. As a matter of fact, the whole Sky F1 team is pretty bad.
That's true.
I don't understand why the English Channel 4 broadcast doesn't get the English World feed instead of the Sky broadcast, because the Sky broadcast objectively has a worse broadcasting team.
Like Crofty's analogies and some of his fuck ups are just terrible.
Crofty misidentifies cars. He talks about things that doesn't matter. He makes stupid analogies that have nothing to do with the car race constantly. He's clearly got really strong biases for and against certain drivers that show through when he commentates constantly. Right? And it's just...
This is gonna be a fuck fest of a race.
I just really do miss the old Speed Channel 2010s F1 broadcast team. I thought they were the best because they clearly loved racing. It was a bunch of really experienced commentators that used to be pro drivers, right? The vast majority of them were. And they just didn't fuck around. During the 2010s period when F1 was really good close racing in like 09, 10, 11, and 12, they were just going nuts over how good the racing was all the time. You could feel the passion with them, you know? And it was just... I miss that out of the Sky broadcast team for F1.
Yeah, I don't mind Martin Brundle, but Croft.
Brundle's like the only good one. You can get rid of the rest of them.
Yeah.
Like Ted Kravitz is like I'm just.
No, I like Ted.
I'm apathetic to Ted Kravitz. What we need is Ted Ho in the F1 paddock instead of Ted
We
Kravitz.
do. We absolutely do. Put him in, coach.
And then they can be like, Ted, down to you. And I'd be like, what's up? Hello, my whiteys.
We are
Sure is
sinking.
a good day to be white.
Okay. Oh
God
my
damn.
god.
God damn it.
Jesus.
Oh, God.
Yeah, definitely delete this one, I think.
Am I clear?
I'm just sitting on the grid.
We're like
idiot.
20 seconds behind you.
Fuck. I've had to put up with this guy for 11 years.
Yeah.
God. See, for us, the starlights are only just going out now.
I just heard somebody fucking belt out a fart in the background. You're vile.
It was me.
Fuck off, Ethan.
I'm amazed that one actually got through the noise suppression. Normally they don't.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Oh, Ethan Dean, you just won the Virtual Racer Champions. How do you feel?
Fart.
Okay, and
I love watching like speedrunning cringe.
Yes, or like oh, what's
Calling a sim race the virtual race of champions is like calling a chess tournament the retard's retrograde cup. Like it's not an accomplishment. Like I just fucking
Retards a retrograde cup.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I lost it.
Now, the chess master in the sub 85 IQ category is trying to use a Pukachov's gambit, but seems to have forgotten step 5.
Yeah, I'm really glad I bottled the main event and made an ass out of myself on fucking BT Sport. Yeah, great. It was a good time. It was in AC, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And it's led to some good things. Like I met James Baldwin, and then through him, Yano. And we're all good friends.
Good for you, man. Knowing that you have friends in sim racing is pretty great. I'm glad you got to make those friends.
The sarcasm is palpable.
Yes.
I just don't care about sim racing. I'm sorry. I really don't.
Yeah, you're on a stream of it.
Yeah. It's my job, Ethan.
Ted.
You think I'm happy? You think I'm happy that I'm a sim racing instructor instead of working with a real life racing school right now? Huh? You think I like this? You think I'm happy?
A wise man once said, "These may be pretend race cars, but these aren't pretend friendships."
Okay. Nice. Yeah, sure. Guys,
Stop
anybody in the
retracting your
chat
messages.
listening to me right now, if you ever want to know why I get in controversies constantly, or why I'm such an asshole, or if you ever want to know my life philosophy, there's no such thing as an actual friendship with somebody you meet on the internet. I'm genuinely convinced of that. You have to actually go through some hard stuff with somebody in real life to truly build a genuine bond with them. You can have acquaintances on the internet, you can have work colleagues on the internet, hell, you can even have people who you enjoy doing stuff with on the internet who are like your kind of hobby space buddies, but they are not.
I like that
Like,
idea,
hey,
hobby space
let me-
buddies.
Yeah, but they're not like, hey, your girlfriend broke up with you, let me come drive you to work because you're having panic attacks, like friends. You know what I mean? They're not, hey, let me come drive you to the hospital. Hey,
I need
hey,
your
let
truck
me-
for a weekend.
yeah,
And let's go get fucked up together.
It's hard to put your finger on it, but only when you're sitting there stretching out your foreskin with a bro can you truly become real bros, you know? On the same couch.
Do you speak from experience?
Yeah, man, gotta jelk. Can't stop, won't stop jelking. And you gotta goon afterwards an appropriate amount of time, too.
Oh, you've seen the gooning subreddit too? That shit's crazy. Fucking missed a shift because I was thinking about that.
You missed a shift in a sequential card thinking about gooning.
I got so excited I double clicked.
Oh, I'm gonna goon! Ooh, you're
That
gonna
sub
get
is
one.
crazy.
So a Canadian, a Brit, and an American did a stream on AMS2. It's like an intro to it. Well, it is a bad joke, to be honest. So basically what Ted's saying is, we're not friends.
Okay.
Fuck you, Ted.
Fuck you too, bud.
Fucking dick.
What do you want from me?
Friendship! I just want
Ethan, I've raced with you and I have a lot of respect with you, but this is literally the first time I've heard your voice. The first thing I ever said to you was that you sound like how Wensleydale cheese tastes. And that was like an hour ago. What do you want? What do you want from me?
The sun is bright.
He put the sun in the headlights.
The fuck do you think is happening? Oh, he told me that I sounded like Wensleydale taste, and I just really wanted to kiss him, you know?
It is
It's
the best compliment I've ever received. Oh dear, my sides. Austin, we're friends, right?
We got a goon together.
Well, where, Daddy?
I'm gonna move out for my new job, and my girlfriend's gonna,
Move, you fucker. I don't know what my headlight button is, but please move. Thank you.
She's gonna message me. Hi Teddy, are you doing okay? How's the new apartment? How's the new job? I'd be like, yeah, you know, I wake up and I practice, you know, instrument flight rules, flight planning, and weight and balance, and then I get home and I do some squats, and then I do jelking, and then I goon for a bit, and then more squats, and then a little bit more jelking, and then I take my melatonin pill and go to bed. She's gonna be like, what?
Oh God, there go the glasses.
The gooning subreddit. Someone explain to the chat what the gooning subreddit is.
Someone explain to me what the fuck gooning and joking.
Hey, bro, do you want to come over later for a joke session and do some gooning and spooning afterwards, bro?
To be fair, I probably know
this
what it
month
is.
there's gonna be a full moon, so we need to jelk and spoon after we goon at the full moon.
There's a gooning subreddit which is like hardcore porn addicts, where like their entire room is just like porn, and they watch it on multiple monitors at once.
I see.
It's crazy.
To be fair, I probably know what joking is, but you know, British people have kind of fucked up names for things, so we probably just call it, oh, cocky bear, cocky wocky. That kind of.
Yeah.
We call it a little bit of stretch and match, bruv. Yeah, you know, bang me, bruv. You gotta pull back my foreskin and give me a little bit of stretch and match before you put it in my batch, you know?
I just say, do you fancy coming over to my flat for a bit of semen spleggings?
My goodness, woman. Put your burqa
These
back
dudes
on.
in the
It's
race
not
have
time
no
to
idea
stretch.
that the man in third place is having to listen to this.
They're like,
just-
try hard. I'm gonna beat this man in my GT3 car. Ooh, he's my nemesis. And you're like, I wish they would stop talking about joking.
That's a discussion we've had many times on SRS, because you get all the fucking sweats on that
Yes.
goddamn website, and they're like, you know, white knuckles on the steering wheel. I've got to beat Ethan Austin, the P1 and P2 again, and we're just like, just bullshitting like this as we're sailing up into.
It's
the
gotten
distance.
bad
My
too. It's
fa-
like,
my
hey, what do you
favorite-
call
my
a sheep
personal
with no
favorite
legs?
thing-
A cloud.
My favorite thing is that there's a ton of sim racing groups who think that I just like practice and hot lap constantly. And until they get on a call with me and they're like, Ted, aren't you coming to your own race? I'm like, is it qualifying yet? They're like, qualifying's in 2 minutes. I jump on and they're like, why are you so slow? And I'm like, oh, this is my third lap. And then like end of lap 1, I'm like from 8th to 2nd. I've done it so many times. It's so funny. It's my favorite party trick. I'm like, how do you do that? And it's like, gee, it's almost like I raced professionally and had to learn brand new
Oh, the
tracks and
retards are
brand
fighting
new
at the
cars.
front.
Yeah, my
Clorox
favorite one
bleach.
was
Strange time to start watching. No, you picked like the funniest time to start watching. We were ready to
Exactly.
almost end the stream, but now
And people were actually playing AMS2, which is like finding a fucking, like, endangered species in the wild.
It's like finding your perfect joke, mate.
you've heard of soulmates, but have you maybe even had a flatmate, but have you ever had a joke mate? What if instead of tickle me Elmo, there was a jelk me Elmo, and you had to pull his foreskin and stretch out?
Yeah, Chuck. That's the exact thing. That's the exact bullshit we get up to on SRS 10. Have you seen the Make-A-Wish clip?
I haven't seen the Make-A-Wish clip.
I'll have to send you that. Or I guess.
What's the Make-A-Wish clip?
Do you remember? Oh, that was probably me showing you that then, Chuck. Yeah. Do you remember? What was it? The Glicken House, the newer one, and we were at Silverstone, and we let the guy in third pass.
Yes. Oh my
I
god,
still have this
yes.
clip saved just because you'll fucking laugh. And I just said, this is like Make-A-Wish. He just goes. He's just the biggest laugh I've ever heard you do.
It is. It's like we decided this one guy who like outqualified us, who is normally shit. We're like, let's pretend we're really bad, and he's gonna beat us until the last lap. And we did. And then he
It's like
self-spun.
Make-A-Wish. Oh yeah, that's right.
People are arguing in the chat.
That is literally the kind of shit we get up to when we're fucking 1-2ing an SRS.
Some
When we
retard spun in one, and I
practice-
didn't see him because he didn't have his headlights turned on. But I avoided him.
Do you think we sweat? Do you think we try hard? No, we just show up with a setup made for a completely different kind of track and just fucking zoom off into the distance talking about farts and like.
We're on 2 to go, and the leaders are gonna wreck, and I'm gonna end up winning this thing.
Hell yeah. What sim racing gear is the most halal?
G25 with the buttons broken on it that your G25 is so old and the pedals so fucking flickery you can't even make coaching videos
Xbox
anymore.
360 controller.
Austin, there's people won't stop asking you about motorsports games. Apparently, they tweeted another piece of news about something, and they're asking if you saw it.
Oh, they have like a content plan, but like
Okay, yeah.
that was kind of a given.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna last. It's gonna be iRacing's gonna have the license. All they're gonna put out is NASCAR 21 and some DLC for it, and that's it.
Watch us virtually ring the Nasdaq closing bell live.
Wow, like that's not
I
a.
bet you the people who organize that don't get their fucking virtual bell rung, if you know what I'm saying.
One to go.
Aw, yes. Honey, this evening I rang the NASDAQ bell over the internet. I want a divorce!
Doesn't your game only have like 30 players worldwide? Yes, but that's not the point. That's how that conversation went.
Yeah.
360 controller and flight pedals for gas and brake. Chuck, my man, I shit you not.
I genuinely really want to. I really want some flight sim pedals. I've got a twist rudder
Same.
right now, and I really want an actual rudder. It's so nice to have.
Yeah,
I tried
I
one
bet.
at the flight school that I went to. I tried their actual pro grade 7. I'm like, holy shit, I need pedals. A twist rudder is not enough.
So, Chuck, when Austin and I met, we met on like Rigs of Rods Monster Jam,
Call me
and
Chuck.
No, there's a Chuck
I'm
in the
calling
chat.
I'm calling
Oh, sorry.
Chuck.
I'm okay. I'm really stupid. My bad.
Fucking hell!
Continue.
This guy's a racing instructor.
I don't have to know people's names. Especially not the white ones. I never pay attention to the white ones' names.
Okay. Anyway,
Got
Charles.
Languid skin.
When Austin and I met, I practiced for 2 weeks solid and blew out everyone at the next race we did for like the pretend monster trucks. I was using my fucking Logitech joystick with a slider throttle. The brakes were on the trigger and the buttons were just flaky and it was awful, but I whipped everyone's ass with it and it was my greatest sim racing win ever. So if you want to talk about janky controllers, and to this day I clapped my one controller, so I've been using my PlayStation 2 controller to clap kids in Rocket League and shit. It's great.
Confirmed live on stream. Ethan Dean claps kids.
Hell yeah. Shitting on these kids. You know what I would say?
That was a
Or
very
clap
good
is
race.
American slang, my friend.
Oh boy. Hey.
Oh my god, why do we keep getting these fucking bots leaving like weird half?
How do we make one a mod?
How do I make one a mod?
I made a sex bot a mod like a couple weeks back.
It's not funny. You're gonna get your account hacked if you do that. I'm not kidding. That's what they do. They post fake links and then they take your account information. So if you make one a mod, he's gonna keep sending shit to you.
Who the fuck is Devin Webster? Dwayne Webster.
Okay,
You
I guess
three
we've
are
been
to make
given
a-
it. I guess we've been given an order on a new form of content
Yeah,
to make.
you three are to make an auto racing video.
Make an auto racing video like they did back in the day with football follies.
Dude, lights
fucking
literally
football
do
for
not
it.
work in this game. Like, I'm turning it on and off, and it barely illuminates anything.
Watch, you have the wrong button, Matt.
No,
or
it's
something.
it's working. You'll see it on the stream here, but it's like I'm flickering it on and off, and it's just pointless. Peak madness engine. Lights don't work. That was a PCars 2 thing
Well,
too.
there's still light in the sky.
Hey, Stefan, get the fuck out with your dial-up in the chat. I love people shit-talking each other in these. Wow, that was a close race. Best lap within 0.2 of each other. 141.6, 141.4, 141.5. That was a cool race. I'm glad I did that. That's like the last... Aside from JG1 stuff, that'll be like the last online race I'll do for years in this game. Just because that's what ends up happening.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Stephen, get the fuck out with your dial-up and 1000 ping based. Okay, now I could actually pick the car I want.
Based and anti-dial-up pilled.
There's like actual people in here.
As opposed to not real people.
Yeah.
Sex bots.
I mean, I would do another one. As long as we go to like an okay track. Because sometimes they have these on rotation. Like you can set the dedicated server. I vote Speedland.
Yeah, makes sense. Does anybody else have any interesting and insightful questions in the chat that they want to ask us while we're waiting for the next race to fire?
Yeah, now is time for questions. Oh, one guy wants to go to Spa.
Q&A.
Oh, we're going to Spa.
Of course you're going to Spa. Genre
GT3 at
obligatory,
Spa.
my friend. Yeah, don't you like being flat out for 85% of the lap?
Love it. Some of the sex bots might have better racecraft. Don't doubt it.
God, guys. GT3 cars at Spa. GT3 cars at Spa. Oh.
There are like 8 other games I could do this in, but I choose this one.
Let me race this neutered short track version of what used to be an actually good racetrack in a car that's wide open throttle 90% of the lap. Yes, how fun, how enjoyable.
It is weird to think of Spa as a shortened layout, but that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
Old Spa was based.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're getting people in the chat asking, what is the meaning of life? To which my answer is to toil and die, because
Based
there is no
JC
inherent meaning to
1424.
life.
JC's my favorite obscure NASCAR gaming channel. He just plays like old NASCAR PS2 games, and he's like half decent at them.
Good.
Wonderful.
I'm glad that he's done with that. You should do
Good
that,
content,
JC.
bro.
Oh fuck,
Do
we're
what you're
going
good at.
Bathurst.
The meaning of life is to make NASCAR game videos, JC. That's what the meaning of life is.
Even though
You're-
the meaning of life is actually joking with a close bro.
We are going to Bathurst, boys.
Okay, now that's better.
That is
I don't
better.
think- I don't think Bathurst is super good either. I think it's a bit overrated.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
The track kind of drives itself because there's only really one line. It's got the same thing the Nürburgring has going on.
Yeah. Where is life? It ain't here.
Not wherever I'm around, that's for sure.
I wonder if this still has the thing from P cars where you could only run turbo cars here because running naturally aspirated stuff in the mountain section would starve them of air. That was a.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a fun.
Trans Am
Yeah.
Zigzag in the chat with the consistently base takes tonight. Trans Am series cars over GT3 series cars. Yeah, you're not wrong. They're better. Cost less money, cost less to operate, go about as fast, way harder to drive. Boom.
No sense running a mostly flat out track if there isn't a chance of flattening some harlot in a kink literally named Master.
Yeah. Base.
Fucking Chuck.
Honestly, vintage Spa is so good. I'm really, really sad there isn't a sim racing system legal one because I would run it like every fucking vintage series.
That's the R Factor 2 conversion, right?
Yeah, so we're not allowed to run it, which sucks because I desperately want to run vintage Spa.
Oh, but Ted, I thought you didn't like being flat out for 85% of the lap.
Yeah, it did
I don't
92%
like-
of the lap.
I don't like being flat out for 85% of the lap if it's in a car that suits the circuit and that flat out then leads to difficulty, right? Because
Okay,
the problem is, I've been talking to Austin about this, and I'm thinking of doing a scripted video on this for my YouTube channel if anybody wants to check that out, or we might talk about this on the Sim Racing Rejects at some point. But I don't give a fuck. We work together. But the weird thing is, a lot of these old vintage tracks, like Spa, that got shortened, like Rouen-le-Sacer, that got shortened, like Bathurst, that had the chicane put in, like Monza, which was altered to slow the cars down a little bit, like Red Bull Ring, which used to be the Österreich Ring and had be way longer and have way more high-speed corners. Believe it or not, would be more, the vintage versions of these tracks would be more fun to drive in modern cars, which have a lot more high-speed grip. And a lot of these modern versions of some of these tracks would actually be more fun to drive in vintage cars that have less grip and are a little bit more point squirt, right? So, like, if you put oh my fucking god, turn it off for half a second. I'm being serious for once, I promise. But some of these tracks, like, you know, old Red Bull Ring with its long sweeping high-speed corners, if you put modern runoffs on that track, it would actually be safe enough to race with modern race cars, and it would be a better track even for modern racing. Yeah, I like a lot of these tracks that have been slowed down or shortened ended up the modern race car has evolved so much. It has so much grip, it has so much downforce, and it's so safe that the vintage version of that track would actually be better for that race car than the modern version of the track.
That makes sense.
To make it safe for vintage cars.
I actually just stepped away from old NASCAR games. GT4 and Most Wanted are sick. Dude, GT4, I've been playing that lately. Work of art. That is one of the all-time
Gran
best
Turismo
racing
4
games.
was where Gran Turismo peaked. It's only gone downhill since then. I hope the new one is kind of brings it back into the fold.
Completely agree. Like, GT4 just had the atmosphere. It was just a nice place to be.
Gran
And
Turismo will never be as good as it used to be if it doesn't stop taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
It's had a devolution in tone because it's like, oh, we're like the real motorsport simulator.
They are very pretentious in how they act.
Yeah, and it needs more Japanese jazz and funny sound.
It also
effects
needs
for
more
sound
Bjork
design.
facts in the menu.
That being said, there is a lot of that in GT4 as well. You know, like it's got the jazz, it's got, and I remember so well back in the GT4 era before GT5 came out. I was on GT Planet, and there was no communication from Polyphony, and I think it was general consensus that Kazunori Yamauchi didn't even look at other racing games to like scope out the competition. It was just like, it was very closed, and it was very up itself.
I remember hearing that
So
too.
I mean, while you know GT4 I think is a work of art, I'm not gonna be under any illusion that it was a sort of better time, sort of in terms of the company and all that, because it was very close-minded, and I remember they used to delay for years at a time. Like there was.
But at
some
least we got a
bad shit.
complete game out of it, which I
That's
prefer
true.
to the DLC piecemealing of post-patching of a broken game. Now, good question in the
Yep.
chat. Is there a method of playing Gran Turismo 5 or 6 on a wheel and an emulator net? I know PS3 emulation is at a good spot. I just haven't looked to see where they support you wheels.
There's not wheel support for
so,
it yet.
So there's no wheel support for it yet, and actually GT5 and GT6 are both mostly unplayable on an emulator currently.
You need a pretty big fucking rig.
Yeah, you need a really, really big rig because well, it's not even that. They just crash constantly. Like
Yeah.
for some reason, the emulation is just not there. If you go, there is a Discord server and an online forum called GT Online Modding Community, and if you go on there and ask people who make great guides on it, they'll still basically tell you, yeah, GT5 and GT6 are totally unplayable on the emulator. They just crash and break constantly. You're better off getting a capture card and a jailbroken PS3. And to play it on your computer monitor or stream it or anything like that, and still be able to use a wheel connected to it. Unfortunately.
I'm not gonna waste all this time in practice and poop myself out, so we'll watch some bums. Duffy won last race, so.
Has been a and hang up the sticks. You suck. Is that guy's name Etan?
I think
What the
so.
fuck did he? What the fuck did he do to his car? You know,
Broke it.
it's a bullshit.
So, our boy Gomez is P2 in practice. This race is gonna go a lot better for me, I think. I'm not very good at Imola. I mean, I am, but I'm not. Gomez
Okay.
destroys the fucking BMW, and he's like, I'm not even gonna go back to pits. I don't think there's damage in this practice.
I'm looking at some pretty hefty damage right now.
No, but like, mechanical, it doesn't actually affect the car.
Okay. Bonk. Speaking of road racing, I raced with Kibitza on Razor and he drove like he didn't have a brake pedal, so I did the same and sent him to planet Neptune. Based NASCAR fan 24 dude fucking yeeting Robert fucking Kubica in a race Republic lobby. I want to see that clip.
Well, Ted and I talked about this in one of our first episodes. There's bound to be someone has like a recording of like a pro driver just spurging out at someone, not like a Scott Speed or like someone who's already gotten busted, but like someone like William Byron, because like these guys sit on here like to the same extent we do almost, especially like in the off season. And like,
well, and I've done it. Like, I've had plenty of run-ins with sim racing communities who just don't want anything to do with me or hate me or people. It's funny. I've read some of the rumors about me on the internet. There's rumors that I lost my pro racing drive because I have an anger issue that people started because I yelled at somebody in a sim race one time.
Wow.
There's all kinds of crazy shit out there. And I'm sure I'm sure there's plenty of pro racers who just fucking cuss somebody out because it's like, in a video game with kids. What the fuck?
there was a guy in the iRacing forums who like equated me to a school shooter a couple of years back, and it ended up being some like he's either a tranny or a furry. It was weird, man. It was really weird. Yeah, and like we looked into his account, and it was like him and Aaron Vogel, and there's like a group of them who were just all had like catgirl avatars and like the 3D. So when they'd sim race and run VR, they had like a 3D avatar instead of like a camera on them, and it'd be like a cat girl.
Yay.
Yeah, it was weird. I think either I showed that to you, Ethan, or me and Chris found it.
I don't remember.
It was bizarre.
It's whatever. The internet's a fucking cesspit. Don't believe anything anybody says about anybody. Form your own opinions, do your own work, make your own spaces, and curate them and gatekeep the shit out of them.
That's how
Yeah,
you
for
get
all
banned
you
from
know,
Twitter.
joking isn't even that good.
Yeah.
So did this guy just blow all the panels off his beamer for lightness,
Yeah.
or what's he? Speed holes. Those are speed holes. It makes the car go faster.
P4 is toiler or toilet seat drama. Toiler seat drama? I don't. Okay.
Wait, let's see. So VTube has invaded sim racing. Yeah, it's weird.
There's actually been a lot of weebs in sim racing for a long time, and before that, in the 2010s on iRacing, it was fucking full of bronies. Like, literally.
Ew.
Just full of bronies.
Ethan gets like a nervous laugh.
Shut up.
Dude, it was all of you, so like, don't even feel bad. I was the only one who was just like, I don't give a fuck about My Little Pony.
It was.
You're
what,
telling
it
me
was
you're a
decent-
grown adult and you didn't want to watch a fucking children's cartoon and get really weirdly aroused by it? What is wrong with you?
There was no arousal in it. It was actually, unironically, a pretty good show. But
Listen
then
to
all the
this
weirdos
guy.
started.
Listen
No,
to this
then all the
guy.
weirdos came in and made it weird, man.
He's justifying it.
And all the horse fuckers came
I
in.
was 23 years old and just watched this children's cartoon for fun. There was nothing nefarious about it.
The best was the documentary on bronies, and I'm trying to find it. It was like a 20-minute piece, 25-minute piece, and they interviewed like 3 of them, and all of them were just weird fuckers.
Yep, I remember seeing that.
And it was not good, and that was
Yeah.
what
I
killed it.
didn't want to be associated with that.
Good.
Yeah. I grew and I learned.
It's fine if people want to have alternative hobbies like being into anime, but you goddamn better hope nobody finds out about it because there's a shame associated with that makes people keep it buried deep down, and that's good. Remember that shame. That shame is good for you. You should not go around being loudly and proudly like, oh, I have this hobby, and even like okay. Like dumb old conservative guys. Nobody cares that you like guns. Stop wearing shirts with gun brands on them everywhere and very obviously carrying a gun in a really obnoxious
Yeah,
way.
it's.
And be like, I won't carry anything smaller than a 45 ACP, and God created man and Samuel Colt made him equal. All hobbies have cringe people. Don't be that fucking person. Have some shame. Shame is a good thing. We developed it socially for a reason. We evolved to feel shame because that feeling of, hey, maybe I shouldn't admit that I do this thing is a good thing. It's a self-defense mechanism. Use it.
It's dead.
Yeah, like trying to think of like what's the worst hobby I've run into. Oh, there was a bunch of furries on iRacing before the brony thing was a thing.
Furries, brony. The people who are really annoying about growing their own weed, I think, is a bad one.
Yeah.
Because it's like, weed has been such a normal thing now for like 20 years. It's like, you're not unique or original for smoking weed. Stop acting like doing drugs is a hobby, you know? It's just like, oh guys, I grow drugs. Look at how cool I am. It's like, cool. Good for you. Happy for you. Vaping's like that. If your hobby revolves around something that's a consumable temporary high, like if you think that your hobby is drinking or smoking weed or vaping or anything like that, it's like, holy fuck, get a life.
Yeah, you need new hobbies.
Yeah.
Hobbies are like radio-controlled planes and
collecting
painting.
hockey cards, like shit you can get into, and you never run out of things to
ideally
like,
is productive and helps with your mental fortitude. Something that you actually have to focus on and makes you more intelligent to do. I respect people who can write, who can paint, who can make music, right? Who can build model kits, who like to study amateur history, who, I don't know.
skilled to refine.
Yeah.
I admire someone who puts in the effort because it tells me a lot about themselves.
Yeah.
Can't tell if my headlights are on.
A man, another boomer take from the youngest person in the chat, me here. A man who's valuable and useful should always be working on improving himself and other people around him as much as humanly possible. Like, if you want to have a good life and you want to be respected and successful, never stop working on yourself, ever.
Yep.
That includes having actual gainful hobbies, always trying to be promoted at work, working as much as possible, being as useful as possible to the people who you like being around and who like using you, whether that's at work, in relationships, right? Whatever. Like, don't be the person who sits around in their 30s, single, in an apartment, collecting fucking anime figures. Don't be that guy. And if it's not anime figures, don't make it guns or drugs or
What
whatever.
about Hot Wheels? Hot Wheels are
Trying
pretty
my
cool.
best.
I mean, like the Hot Wheels. Don't talk shit about Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Hot Wheels are cool though. Like, come on. As long as you're not
Yeah,
like
Hot Wheels are
racing
sick.
them and pulling a race grooves on YouTube and like setting up the play sets and being like, "Hey guys," you know.
Have you seen the conveyor belt racing?
But even those guys, they take it to the extreme because they realize there's a market for it. So they're like, "Hey, we can make money off just racing fucking Hot Wheels on YouTube."
The conveyor belt races are sick.
I haven't
Or
seen
the
conveyor belt
treadmill.
racing, but there's a channel who like builds like a proper set for like downhill Hot Wheels racing.
Yeah. I think I know the guy.
Yeah.
But the treadmill racing is sick. I'll link you some after. It's wicked sick to sit here on YouTube at 4 AM and watch that shit. And I'm almost 28. Oh yeah.
Oh, guys.
I can just hear him.
This is weird. I constantly run into this with like other people kind of in their mid to late 20s like me who are like, why am I... Is this literally just a millennials versus like Zoomers and Gen Zers thing where like for some reason I have weirdly boomerish attitudes compared to people just slightly older than me? I think that's genuinely a thing. There's a generational gap happening.
Unironically, I'm starting to feel that. I'm feeling like I'm becoming a boomer. And it's more like it's a state of mind more than an age bracket now.
Yeah, exactly.
Boomer is a state of mind.
Yep. That's an original. That's an Ethan Dean original right there.
Ted, I have improved my driving tremendously this session.
I told you. What did I tell you to fix?
Slow down the steering.
Yeah, what did it fix?
Fast.
Everything. Yes.
Oh, there's a man backwards on the track.
Oh
Gonna
God, they're
protest you.
wrecking, oh hell, oh fuck, oh God. Oh,
Aggressive goes around.
And it's Hamilton!
they're wrecking Larry Mack.
Oh, we turned him! No! Oh, we turned him!
There was a guy like that. Ethan, on that broadcast on SRS by that Too Old for Forza community that you basically accidentally ended by ruining their whole season.
Yes. Oh yeah, Ethan doesn't know the lore about this.
Ethan doesn't know the lore about this. So do you remember the Lola, the Chevrolet Lola
The Can-Am
series
car.
on SRS like 6 to 12 months-ish ago?
Yes.
And how you and Alex had a tangle. I can't even remember what happened, and I'm not blaming anybody, but you had a tangle, and it basically wrecked
Monza.
the entire field.
So it was the Monza Oval, and I tried to pass him on the outside. I thought I had enough space, but I was streaming, so the netcode buffer go. And
Yeah,
we
so
just...
it wasn't even anybody's fault. But the consequence of that was
Holy
the
fuck, I'm
whole
intrigued.
field got fucking taken out.
Yeah.
So that community's broadcast ended up getting dropped due to low car count. Because well, hold on, because it wasn't just that. After that, the guy who ran that community, Scott Warner, who's a fucking massive tool bag, decided that he was gonna start wanting to race on WSS instead because he wanted to use RIP mods, and SRS wouldn't let him use RIP mods, right?
I fucking recommended WSS to them.
Yeah, and so basically they made a bunch of videos about how it was. What did Scott, to the guy who runs the Tool for Forza channel for their club, Scott, he made a video claiming that WSS was the best thing to happen for Assetto Corsa since the Content Manager mod was released. Even though it was just like some race booking system, right?
Yeah.
So he made that, and then Enrique got angry, reasonably, that one of his bigger broadcaster series was advertising a competitor product. So then I don't know if they got kicked off, asked to leave, or just stopped on their own using sim racing system.
Wow.
And then basically nobody showed up for any of their WSS series, and it's now been a year and a half since then, and now they're going back to AC, but they're hosting a private league instead.
Wow.
Because literally nobody showed up for any of their remaining SRS races. They only had like 6 to 8 people at most, and then they went to WSS and nobody raced that, and then people stopped racing that, and now they're going back to Assetto after they tried jumping to iRacing to get their car count back up, and nobody wanted to race that.
So lesson learned: don't dive bomb people on lap 1 at Monza because it'll destroy their series.
I didn't drive bomb moves and that goes good.
Yeah, you domino affected a whole fucking YouTube community off of SRS, homie.
Fuck yeah. No, that's some butterfly effect shit. Holy crap, I didn't even know. How didn't I know this? Oh, I'm sorry.
Look at this lap I'm about to put down, though.
You don't have to be sorry. A lot of it was their own fault too. I mean,
I bet.
If you're doing a broadcast series for a race booker, don't go and then advertise another race booker and shit like that. It kind of seems pretty basic to me. I don't know. Not the smartest idea.
That was a sexy lap. This is insane. I'm like half a second up.
Am I allowed to mention that one really old sim racing community Austin and Nathan both hail from? Go for it.
OVG, sure, of course.
Yeah. I haven't been in there in literally years, since like 2016. Started 2016 because started 2016. That's when I started really like traveling and stuff and really touched grass.
Oh man, you got into your mid-20s and you started liking traveling just like every white woman who fucked 20 guys in college.
Ed, I was traveling all over the world with Monster Jam watching monster truck shows, and it was fucking sick. So I mean, you'd take your little boomer ass there and you shut the fuck up. Monster trucks are fucking sick, bro.
Sure, okay, fine. I actually really don't like monster trucks at all.
They don't like you.
Well, no, I don't dislike them. I just don't like them. Like, I'm apathetic to them. I think motorcycle racing is cool as a sport, but I don't like motorbikes as much as I like cars. And I think monster truck competitions I don't like to watch, even though the monster trucks are like big and loud and kind of cool.
That's fair. I accept. Yeah, that's fine.
It was like, It's just like I would prefer to watch like the TT or like a really good karting race or a touring car race or something like that.
How many of us actually went to college? I was homeschooled.
I've got an associate's degree in automotive mechanics and engineering and a fucking FAA flight dispatcher certification. So that's me. Oh, and I guess if you want to count it as technical school, I've got my Motorsport Safety Foundation racing instructor certs. But...
Very cool. I'm proud of you, Ed.
Don't be proud of me. It was fucking stupid. COVID happened and I lost my job. Don't go to college, go to tech school. Get paid job training. College is a fucking scam.
Yeah, I was about to move to Florida for Monster Jam full time, and then COVID. That was in March of 2020. So, guess how that went. Guess where I didn't spend all of 2021 in a deep depression or anything. Oh, hey guys, look, a Porsche GT3. It's a GTE actually. The British guy, that's Ethan to you, sir, sounds like a famous YouTuber or racing commentator. Kind of sounds like Hashins.
NASCAR fan 24 DT. Okay, do you know what triggers my autism the most of anything on the internet?
You need to stop saying that. You haven't even been officially diagnosed.
I know,
and,
but like it.
You talk to me like I'm like your autism spirit buddy because I've got the fucking paperwork.
No,
to prove
but
it. I'm not here to diagnose
His
you.
handler.
No,
His
but
wrangler.
what triggers me, period, across all facets of life, is
White people. They
is
cause all of my problems.
cringy YouTube usernames. ManDude03 videos. NASCAR fan 24 dude. You know what I mean? Like Clorox bleach is funny.
Yeah.
Zigag is funny. DJ Phil like 007 probably has like a meaning to it. Then there's just like NASCAR fan _ 28 _ 48 _ 9 _ 2022.
Senna slut 69 420.
Like, and you see it a ton in the NASCAR like YouTube sphere. Just weird YouTube accounts and weird YouTube account names. And you, Ethan, you know what? You probably saw this with Monster Jam a shitload. Just like weird Monster Jam like accounts.
Monster Jam Lord, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and like it's always like name of the series or like name of a driver or name of a team or name of a truck followed by like random numbers or like some other like weird suffix on it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. And me and Austin specifically, because we make critical YouTube content, criticizing things or coaching people or whatever. I'm not going to take a comment on my video seriously trying to debunk my opinion on a sim racing game from Senna the best ever 49, okay? Like, I'm just fucking not.
You'll find NASCAR 24, dude. It's just when we're out of content and out of ideas, we're just making fun of chat.
No, I'm not sorry. Like, of all the things you could have picked, like, what if you don't like NASCAR in 2 years? Then you have a stupid username. What if, like...
He's not even actually wrong.
Like, what if the 24 car, like, what if your favorite driver changes his number? It's kind of like a tattoo in some ways. Like, at least Pizza Sub Combo or, like, just me using my name on YouTube is, like, is just, like, kind of stock and generic. But, like, that's an online account. But, like, the weird shit you see, especially in the Monster Jam community, like, Mr. Avenger 2. Like,
yeah,
and he has a great Instagram account, and he posts really cool shit, but it's like, why did you name yourself that?
Yeah, race drivers and car numbers temporary, pizza subs are forever. Ethan,
Like,
do you have any...
I'm not gonna make my YouTube username like I've seen people do this, like a memorial for a famous race car driver or a person that you knew one time. Like, I'm not gonna make my YouTube username like Kevin Ho da best weld inspector 1979 because a fucking Toyota Corolla landed on his face and peeled his skull off. Like, that bitch dead. That bitch super dead.
Or like the fan accounts where like people will literally sign up as like Chase Briscoe and use his like actual photo.
That also
That's
don't do
weird.
that because that's straight up like, if you're gonna start making videos on your YouTube channel about how the Twin Towers were blown up by a controlled demolition, maybe don't have the name of an actual famous person on your account. Maybe don't do that.
Ethan, do you have any dislike for certain Monster Jam console games? No, I think they've they varied in quality over time. Steel Titans is pretty good. I think it's intuitive. I picked it up the first time and was instantly able to moonwalk and kind of backflip, and the driving dynamics are mostly there. It is a bit arcadey, a bit canned, but yeah. Otherwise, Steel Titans is pretty much the best Monster Jam game has been in ages. So it's had a weird and checkered history, but I just don't think there have been any truly bad Monster Jam games. Maybe I'm forgetting one.
Maximum Destruction.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
I made the guy in second wreck.
All these weirdos talking about fucking Monster Jam. How about you go jam your dick in a pussy? How about that?
As the leader was going, or as the guy in second was going through the chase, I was like, Duffy, you can do it. I believe in you. And he just fucking ate shit.
Jesus Christ.
Yo, look at my guy's blurry suit. I don't know if you can see my mouse on the stream or not, but this is a weird bug with Madness Engine games. Is like the suit will start having irrational amounts of motion blur applied
to
on it.
learn to pay attention to the stream delay. We don't see it.
You'll see it very soon.
Okay.
No,
It's
we
like
won't.
spazzing out.
Oh look, it's still showing me a shot of the. Okay, now. Okay, yeah, now I see it. Yeah, it basically just looks like the shader is fucked up.
Oh yeah, yeah, there it is.
This is a disgusting qualifying session here. I put down a 2:01.6.
I mean, yeah, that's okay. There's probably a 2:05 in it.
There's probably a 2:05. How are these motherfuckers so slow?
It's I don't know. Why don't you plug my coaching in the chat?
Oh,
Do it.
Gomez is dead.
Rip.
Yeah, he ran it. Like, you can run 202s in these cars, no problem. 203s maybe. So, like, we have guys in the GTE cars running, like, 205. And it was the guy who almost won last race, too.
Yeah.
Bathurst isn't that hard, guys. Or they just invalidated a shitload of laps, but...
Mayhap.
I have so many fucking laps in this car, you guys have no idea.
That's good for you, man. I'm happy for
Yeah.
you.
Toiler seat drama. Here we go, boys. Oh, we're at night. Right into it. No one gets time. No one was ready. Holy shit.
Oh, your wife sounds pretty cool, DJ. You should succumb and give us money so we can keep making monster truck shows.
Guy behind me flashed his lights at me.
Didn't Steel Titans get a sequel? Yes. Have I tried it? No, not yet, because Phil didn't give me a code for that one.
There's a torrent fam.
Yeah, I could do.
Somebody in the chat just said did the ACC thing. Said he did ACC public lobbies and Monza was horrendous. Yeah, it's almost like they shouldn't have redesigned the original chicane they put in there. That was kind of like the two third gear high speed chicanes that nobody ever fucking crashed at because there was enough space for all the cars to go through them. It's fucking. I don't understand why they did that redesign. It was like 2000 or 2001. They put that squinted off, really tight first chicane in Monza, and the old chicane was better. The old double first chicane was so much better. I don't know why they ruined it.
Any
Most
recommendations?
overrated racing commentator.
Rick Allen.
Yeah, Rick Allen's not that good. I really don't like Martin Brundle. I think he's only okay. I really don't like. Who's that one who everybody pretended to like, even though when they were born, he had already been retired for like 10 years, the old F1 commentator
Hunt?
guy? No. The
Walker?
other one. Yes.
Nah,
People
man.
are gonna
No, not
fight you in
Walker.
the
Who the hell
chat.
is Walker?
Murray Walker?
Yeah, Murray Walker. Yeah, him.
Wow, that's controversial yet based.
During
Why?
the end of his career, he was clearly already struggling with his health, and he would just ramble on about shit that wasn't the race. And like,
Yeah,
like
primary was amazing.
yeah. Apparently, Monza is looking into redoing the chicane again. I hope they do, because the old one was way better. The old double first chicane. What was it called? Variante Retefilo, the double first chicane, or where it was like a left, right, in third gear, and then a slightly slower one in second gear or something like that. Perfect. That was an amazing first chicane. It was a double chicane. It was 2 fast direction changes. It was wide enough for multiple cars to go through. It was safe enough for bikes, everything. Then this horrible fucking abomination they put in at turn 1 has just been causing accidents nonstop for the last 20 years. I don't know why they haven't changed it back yet, honestly.
I did not care for Jeff Gordon in the booth.
Gordon was horrible.
He just didn't have the voice for it.
Yeah, it's just he had this like kind of twangy, high-pitched voice that just didn't work.
Jeff Gordon's voice sounds like what it would feel like to watch another man fuck your wife while drinking soy milk.
You have a really
How many
talent.
bottles of wine are you into tonight? This is impressive.
I'm totally sober.
You have a talent for really vividly illustrating analogies for how people's voices sound.
I'm not wrong though, am I?
This sounds like experience. Did you eat
Like
Wednesday
Jeff,
or
Jeff,
watching
Gordon,
someone...
Jeff Gordon sounds like somebody who's had to change his major 3 times because he thought he wanted to be an artist in university and his parents are paying for it. Austin, you fuck up.
I was just,
Oh,
I was
Jesus.
so... You know what? There's standing water on the track. You'll see it.
There it is. It's wet as shit.
Yeah. That's okay.
Somebody in the chat just went, whoa, Ted.
All out Ted.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know me, this is pretty much what I'm like all the time. I'm not playing anything up. This is not an act. I just am this kind of a person. Sorry. Ted, show us on the doll where they hurt you. Nobody hurt me.
I'm not sure I believe that.
Chuck does hot laps in the chats, and Ted's got synesthesia, but the fucking disgusting kind.
What's this?
Synesthesia is when you have a couple of wires crossed in your brain, and you can a lot of prodigies for music have it, where
Okay.
they can taste sounds or sounds. No, I'm not even kidding. It's literally your senses getting crossed. So like certain notes or chord tones, to them evoke different memories, and they can they evoke physical pictures, or they sound like a color, or they taste like a food or something like that.
So like
Wow.
Green Day tastes like shitty Mexican quesadillas, and they're like,
Well, no, because it's different depending on the artist, because everybody's brain chemistry is different.
okay.
There's a famous guy on YouTube who does music technique videos called Adam Neely, who has a form of synesthesia where chords sound like colors to him.
And he just like, he's perfectly normal aside from being like, oh, that's a blue chord.
But he'll be like, yeah, G flat major 7 sounds purple. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, yeah, it sounds purple.
Maybe that's where the idea for Guitar Hero came from.
Actually, probably, most likely, most rhythm games come from people who have synesthesia.
That's interesting.
Yeah, synesthesia most commonly is just seeing color when you hear certain notes. There's also, it's called gustatory autonomata, which is when you taste musical notes or chord tones, I think is what it's called.
I gotta fucking catch this guy.
Silverstone is overrated. Fight me. I hate any track with chicanes and S corners. Now, I agree with you on the modern layout. The old Silverstone with the bridge layout, the
bridge
one in
corner
iRacing,
was
that.
amazing. The most recent redesign in what was it, 2010 or 2012, ruined Silverstone,
2010.
but the previous version before that, from like the mid 90s to current, best version. That had the high-speed bridge corner because you went over a crest and back downhill and super high-speed right. That was a good version. Current one sucks. I do agree.
Yeah. I went to World Endurance in 2018, and since the bridge layout is in the infield now, I got to walk it, and it made me so sad. What a kick-ass piece of tarmac. Why did they do that to it? But what they replaced it with is just so bland and uninspired. I hate that section.
Yeah, this is interesting. There's like standing water on the track.
Charlie Puth would tell you if a fart was F major or not. Yeah, if you fart a certain note, you'll taste one thing but smell another. That's gonna be weird.
Stop this.
Now you're just trying to like stack various weird mental illnesses.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like, the bit's old. The chat already made fun of me. We're done. Let's stop.
Put a mental illness together like Transformers. Assemble.
this is a pretty entertaining race. Gonna come to the line with 4 to go.
New Silverstone is just a Tilka track, yeah.
Silverstone's no good.
What do you think about Jeddah?
I thought Jeddah was really, really good for driving, but really, really shit for racing.
Bingo.
Looks like an amazing track to hot lap and super dangerous and kind of vintage. It's like 70s or 80s F1 kind of Long Beach levels of sketchy.
Yes.
But it did not make a good racetrack. I don't believe it's a safe racetrack. Obviously, I have misgivings about F1 racing there for humanitarian reasons,
yes.
but they're always going to take the money. They've been racing in the U.S. and China and fucking Turkey and all kinds of places that suck for ages.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god!
That was
Chuck.
pretty good.
Chuck, I'm not even gonna read that out loud, you fucking nasty fucker. Oh my good god. Oh my god. I might have to actually delete that if we want to keep the stream up.
I don't mind.
Chuck, you're an amazing guy, and that was incredibly creative. But oh my good god.
No, he needs mod status for that. Just for
I'm
tonight.
not giving somebody mod for making a joke like that.
I give mods to sex bots.
Yeah, and I keep telling you not to do that. And you don't listen.
Neither do the sex
And then
bot
one
mods.
of these days you're going to be like, oh, my whole channel got deleted because a sex bot took it over. And then the podcasts we work on together are going to be gone. It's going to waste my time, too.
That's true.
So don't do that.
Delinquent Troll, who are you? Or who were you on an OVG? Because that means you've looked at my Twitter, man. Which one are you?
Which one are you?
I hope this isn't Keita in disguise or something.
Probably IndyCar fag.
This is genuinely fun. Your chat is so much more fucking fun than mine, Austin. I wish I had.
Well, because I let crazy shit go, right? Like.
Yeah.
Like, nobody watches my race live streams like they watch yours. I would love it if people would fuck around with me in chat while I was driving. It'd be hilarious. I love talking and driving. It's so fun.
You were in a non? Okay, did you ever race in anything? Like any other leagues? Like OVGT3? I remember... Dude, do you remember OVGTP? I enjoyed it.
That was fun.
Yeah, the multi-class, Acura, the P2.
Hope I can catch this guy.
You might run out of laps.
If you hit a fucking apex, you might.
Where's my live stream, Ted? I'll just yoink a link to my YouTube channel in the chat. It's just my...
Do it.
For those of you who don't know, I raced in Block Pan World Challenge US for 2 years. I'm an ex-professional race car driver. I'm a current racing and simulator racing instructor. I do shitty streams. I host a series on SRS and AC.
Jelking enthusiast.
I have a jelking enthusiast, and I host a... It's a very small Discord with a totally dead chat. I'll admit it. Nobody ever talks in there. But I have a Discord where people can basically send me driving clips and stuff like that, and I'll give you free coaching. Or if you want to send me an email on my YouTube channel or my business email, I can give you cheap coaching in the simulator. I'm kind of like a diet version of VRS or something like that. And I post onboards whenever I get to race in real life. So yeah.
No, Billy, we have VRS at home. VRS at home.
My man made an error.
Ooh. Oh,
So that's two of us that have made errors today.
Did I run at St. Pete with Pirelli World Challenge? No. The tracks I have run when I raced in Pirelli World Challenge were Lime Rock, Utah Motorsports Campus, Circuit of the Americas, Brainerd International Raceway, Road America, Mosport, Mid-Ohio, Laguna Seca, and I think that's it.
do any joking streams, buddy? You need to be on our OnlyFans for that. That's not safe for YouTube.
Yeah, unfortunately, no joking streams on YouTube yet. I might consider it. I tell you what, if I get to 1,000 subscribers and I finally get monetization, though, I will start genuinely making more shit, guys. I've been trying the YouTube stuff on and off for a year or two, and I'm still not at 1,000 subs yet. I would love to get there. All the support helps, you know. So, if you want joking, subscribe and hit the bell and like and share my shit.
Hit the bell end.
Hit the bell and I'll stretch my bell for you one day. Maybe. No promises.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of starting up a sort of YouTube presence this year. Because through 2021 I did some quite popular hot lap guides for Formula Simrigs, a Simrig brand out of The Hague in the Netherlands, and it went kind of crazy. I think Monaco had like 10,000 views or something. So, and I had to stop just because I wanted a bit of a break and a refresh. But I want to do the 2022 season. I'm going to be taking over the Formula Simrigs channel, rebranding it as my own, and I'll be back. And they're sending me a rig, so there'll be a gear review, and I have been listing down ideas for opinion pieces. Should I get amass some sort of following or soapbox that would care to
Man is
list?
backwards.
Uh-oh.
I did notice he coming up the hill, the cutting, I think it's called, he fucked up.
Yep. That's okay, though. There seems to be no damage on the server, which is peak sim racing.
That's a good way about it, Chuck. But just
Yeah,
seeing how
guys,
well
and I should say, I do make stuff, but one, it's not that option, and two, I don't really consider myself a sim racer. I'm a real life racer and a driving instructor who just uses the simulator to do work.
He hates
I get a lot
all
of
you.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying if I don't make a
Yes,
ton
it
of
is.
sim racing videos, don't be surprised. It
Dude,
might be like a technique guide or a car and track combo guide for a league I'm doing, or maybe a mod review or something like that every once in a while. When you browse my channel for a bit, you get the idea of what I do. I basically stream my own series, and then if I can make a coaching style video every once in a while, I do so. But I can't really video edit. I don't have any money to run advertisements, so nobody really watches my shit. It's not that professional looking. But if you like how bombastic and fast talking I am and you want more of it, I mean, I can pretty much rattle off like this when I'm driving too, so get in on the race live streams. That might be kind of your thing.
Yeah, honestly, vouch. I've looked at Ted's like IRL onboards. They're pretty kick-ass videos. I enjoy them, so go sub to Ted.
I'm pretty fucking fast. I don't.
Hell yeah, brother.
I've been racing for 10 years now, and I'm turning 24 years old in like a week. It's going to be my 11th racing season this year, so I know what I'm doing. I really, really like helping other people get quicker, so if you want to join my Discord and ask questions about driving or send me clips to review or pay for coaching consultations are cheap. Just send me a request to my business email, and sim coaching is a lot cheaper than real life
What
racing
do you
coaching.
charge,
You'd be
brother?
surprised. What'd you say, Austin?
What do you charge, brother?
So currently the deal that we're doing for 2022 is you get a 22-minute assessment. Basically, you get a coaching assessment where I try to figure out what your major weakness is and give it to you as homework for you to work on your own. An assessment is basically $20.
Oh,
so if you want to do like
that's pretty good.
a quick 30-minute to 1 hour assessment, send me an email, PayPal me. I'll talk to you about what times work for you and what sims you work for you, and we'll figure out if you can get scheduled first before you pay, and then you send me $20, and then we get 30 minutes in a session together. We can jump on my Discord. You can use the Discord Go Live to share me a stream and get me your driving inputs while you're driving around. You hot lap, and I basically help you figure out whatever your 2 or 3 major weaknesses are, and then I'll send you some free resources or recommend some books or some drills to practice and give you some coaching so you can go and coach yourself without having to pay me any more money and make yourself faster. I like to coach people how to make themselves fast rather than just tell them what to do. I'll give you the why, and I think that's my greatest strength as a coach. So if you want to try it out, my services are always available, and I don't want you to have a dependency on me. So you might be surprised if you're a 1,000-hour or 1,500-hour sim racer and you're still 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower than the really fast guys. It normally means because you have it's because you have 1 or 2 techniques you're misusing, and I can always help a student find that with just one simple consultation session.
3,240.9 hours in the set course. There's nothing you can teach me how.
You might be surprised. I help Austin all the time.
Yeah, but I'd blow Austin out by like 3/10. I'm joking. I think I'm okay. I was keeping pace with Jamie B when we tested for British GT. Not right.
Yeah, I mean, it's... And here's the thing, guys. If you're a really slow driver, coaching may or may not help you. And if you're a really fast driver, coaching may or may not help you, which is why for my initial consultations, I charge so little money. Because I don't want to waste your time or your money. And a lot of people just need to figure out if it's the right thing for them or not to be doing first. Some people don't like it. Some people don't like it at all. So, you know, I value you. I value your time. But $20 coaching consultations. Hit me up on Discord. Send me a business email. Send me an email to my business. Whatever you want.
NASCAR fan 24 dude. Ethan's YouTube is Monster Jam fan 2011 Avenger Max D, all one word.
Dude, don't leak it. That's my joking account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ted, if you're bored, you could go to the Formula Simrigs YouTube channel and pick apart a video of mine. Tell me when I fuck up.
I mean, we could always do something like that if you want. If you want to.
Well, I've been streaming since like a while. I don't remember when I started, but it was pretty early. It was like 6. And
somebody asked if we ever did the kart league that you saw in a video a while ago. So me and Austin actually both race with a AC community that's kind of casual that runs a flight sim squadron that I'm a member of called JG1. And if you guys are curious, they race Monday nights in Assetto Corsa at like 9 p.m. Eastern. And they're always looking for more people. So if you want to race with me in Austin, their new series starts next Monday. So come get in on that if you want to.
other than that, like, show's over. I'm tired. That was a lot of driving. That was basically a full-length race and a little bit, because I did 50 laps at Salvador, which is 50% kart race, and then a bit of some GTE driving at Imola, and then more GTE at, what's it called? Bathurst. I'm tired. Probably going to go get food.
Do it.
Anyway, thanks for coming out, guys.
I think I need a little...
That was really fun. I like being here. It's good to...
Shitpost with people.
Yeah, no, it's these streams are really fun, even if we have to delete them afterwards because they get dirty, like legit. It's so...
I don't...
Like,
so, my what's it called? My theory on YouTube is that I'm only going to leave up stuff that's of me good driving. So, like, if I stream one night and I do online races and I get wrecked in all of them, I'm not going to keep it up. Because, like, that's boring. No one wants to see me shitting it up. And like, I hate other people who stream like that. Like, there have been a few sim racing content creators over the years. They're just really bad for it, where they're like, I'm gonna do a first impressions of this new piece of DLC that came out. And then it's just them wrecking.
Yeah. That's what I want to get into, except I'm actually good. So I think that'll be my shtick.
For those of you who can't tell that we're ribbing each other, me and Austin and Ethan are all pretty much about as fast as each other. And we're all, to be blunt, we've all been competitive in esports level series.
Yeah,
and if
we
just had
2020.
Yeah, we just had different preferences and party tricks. Austin's the 1990s racing and oval racing guy. Ethan's the modern GT3 guy. I'm the vintage car and street car guy. right? We all have different things that we're good at
And, like,
bad at.
if we were all to race, it would be a toss-up. It would just be whoever's
it's
on
pretty
it that
much
day.
a toss-up any weekend or
Yeah.
car type. Changes.
I can be, yeah, and we can. I think we can all be fast in anything. Like I like my vintage.
Yeah, that's the
and,
other
like,
thing too. Like I'm
yeah.
I'm a little bit off
We're
in modern
adaptable.
formula cars, but I have the technique to make them work.
Yes.
So it's I think we're kind of all at that. We're all
Now,
at that point. So
the
none of us are better or worse than any of the others, which means all 3,500 of you from Austin's channel should be subscribed to all of us right now.
Hell
Basically.
fucking yeah. But to cap off the stream, we got a request from the fans. I want to hear you say, "You cheeky bugger." Oi, bruv, you fucking what, mate? So there we have it.
Okay.
Where's the rally guy? You need a rally guy to round up the lineup. I do non-stage rallies in real life too.
I'm a rally guy. I like rally. I like rally. There is actually a video on my current channel of me doing. It's not blind, but it's the longest snow stage in Dirt Rally, the original one, and I did it having never run the stage before. I was just like, I'm gonna go purely off the pace notes, and I'm just gonna fucking send it, which is how rally should be. Shouldn't be learning the ages, stages, ages. So that
We're learning the fucking ages, all the way from the classic to the
fuck's
Mesopotamian.
sake. Yeah, but you guys suck at monster trucks.
I mean, saying you suck at monster trucks is like making fun of a soldier because they can't use a spear. Like, that's what a
You are
gun's for, bro.
You're talking to a multiple-time Riggs of Rods Monster Jam King of the Hill champion. Yeah. Austin and I met. He was David Smith. I was Lindsay Wink. I kicked his ass. It's on YouTube. It's on the VOD. Check it out.
Look, this is an interesting stats page that I'm on now. You can sort by time or distance, and that's actually pretty accurate.
That's
The
nice.
cars I've driven. Anyway, I'm gonna kill the stream. Thanks for coming out, peeps. I hope you enjoyed yourself and you were significantly less lonely from having to listen to your pretend internet friends argue about race cars.